Welcome everyone to part 3, our finale of the Demihumans Playtest live stream that we're doing. Lots of fun and interesting things happened in part 1. Things heated up a lot more in part 2. And I'm curious to see how things are going to play out in part 3 here, because, wow, big unexpected things happen every time. I've got to say I've gone into this with like a few bare ideas, but I really never know what's going to happen until we actually get here and play. So, and I think that's kind of the nature of how a lot of these powered by the apocalypse style games are meant to be played. As you pointed out, Palmer, earlier when we were chatting off camera, we play to find out what happens. So with that, before we go into today's tale. Why don't we do a little bit of a recap of what happened last time? Who would like to lead that? Our note taker Z is not here. She might be able to join us after the break, but doesn't know for sure. I think she'd been planning on not joining us at all tonight, but had so much fun yesterday that she's going to give it a shot and is hoping she's going to be able to. So. Well, Krogu, I hope so. How about you? We kind of opened things with something that Krogu discovered.
Okay. In the last tale, we opened with the troll in his cavern discovering that there was a creeping infection or damage that was continuing days after the wizard and his party had visited the Walking Rock Grove. After several days, Johnson made good on his threat and had sent a army of 30 humans down into the Enclave, expecting to go down into the cavern and get the troll. He had equipped them with magic.
I'm going to cut in there and have Palmer step in, because that's when we introduced his character, Stefan.
So Stefan, the human, owner of a prosperous nail-making business in the Enclave, was asked by Cliffhill the Halfling to figure out exactly what the humans were doing in the feast hall. So he encountered basically the Aldea and Ruga. Outside of the feast hall, who informed him that these folks were going troll hunting. Stefan did not like that, and through a series of schemes, attempted to distort and delay their plans. The most notable of which was bribing the feast hall manager to apply a diuretic to their feast.
Yeah, and he ended up choosing a laxative instead. So, laxative, diuretic, close enough.
Yeah. And it worked fairly explosively. Unfortunately, they countered.
I saw some tweets today. Robert Bohl had been watching the VOD of our game, and he got a huge kick out of that.
I'm glad. And let's see. Then, unfortunately, that didn't stop them. So he managed to insinuate himself with their group, the troll hunting group. Aldea and Ruga had gone ahead to warn Krogu.
Yeah, and why don't I pass the torch now to Sarah here to carry on the next section of the recap. You had gone ahead with Ruga to meet Krogu down in the Crystal Cavern.
Yeah. So we made it there and saw that the Crystal Cavern was infected by some sort of curse or damage tainted by the wizard Johnson's magic. So the grove is dying, and Krogu was very concerned for a specific crystal that looks a bit like a flower. So he confided in Ruga and Aldea to see that it was it must be preserved. Aldea used her soul stone to talk to the gatekeeper from the next world and found out it's a means to extend the spark here in this world for demihumans a little bit longer. So she agreed to protect it, and that meant facing off with the humans that were coming on down the tunnel. Battle ensued, and it was glorious and bloody, and for both sides, I think. And we got to see some cool action from all of us.
Stefan rather almost died in the beginning of it because
yes.
he really lived up to the name of his playbook just before the battle commenced.
He performed an ultimate treasonous action by viciously and brutally stabbing through the front and back with a sword the leader of this wizard cadre that was sent out by Johnson.
Yes, she was the Wizard McDowell. And she is no more.
She was deaded, and then he was attacked by like 30 people at the same time, and then he got hit by crossbow bolts, and it was a whole.
Yeah, and Stefan kind of basically died, right?
Yes,
except
he was
he didn't
reduced.
Stay dead.
Yeah. Mysteriously enveloped by crystal, and then restored to life, though in a weakened state.
And Krogu had, instead of fighting them all, had agreed to sort of parlayed with the humans. And why don't you describe what you did?
Krogu walked up to them and said that he would go with them to the wizard because he had a secret to impart to Johnson about what had happened. He peeled off about half of the encroaching humans with him. They had threatened to bind him, but he had successfully convinced them that it was not worth their lives to try, and he'd still go up to the city anyway. So that's the last time we saw them, was walking towards the Enclave and approaching the Dark Gate.
And then one of the last things that happened was Aldea attempted to contact the orc who was manning the Dark Gate to tell her to stop the humans at all costs. But something went wrong with your mind whisper.
Yeah, my dice hate me. So I ended up getting a mind meld of errant thoughts that I both shared and that came to me, and got a terrible epiphany that the blood chaos, is that what it's called?
Yeah, you got essentially a quick grokking of the blood chaos of the orcs and how they see and interact with the spark, and realized how the elven way of looking at the spark is just a facet and not as encompassing as you'd once believed.
Yeah, and that was a major slap in the face, and I wasn't able to kind of come back from that quickly. So that knowledge got shared through the hive mind of all the hyads, as we call ourselves, causing a petal of weariness to blacken for all elven kind.
Yeah, not just for you, but every elf in this world.
Yes, which means that many of them probably faded away.
So, yeah, big stuff happening. The humans returning with reduced numbers, but that just means a larger share for the survivors, right? Along with their prize, Krogu the Troll, and leaving the rest behind, somewhat injured perhaps, or otherwise affected by their travails. I believe Aldea or Sarah, you said Aldea wanted to do something about the cavern before you left. Why don't you tell us what you did there before we move on?
Yeah, as we left the cavern, I had vowed to Krogu to protect that crystal bud at all costs, and now that humans know about the location, if not the crystal itself, they probably aren't that interested in it, in the location, but just in case, I sealed the entrance to that cavern with a thick course of thorny vines so that nobody could get through, because I felt it would be safer that way than with me, who I get this odd feeling won't be long left to this world.
All right. Did we leave out any important details? I think that covers the bulk of it here.
There was the item of a little borrowed magic on my part causing a weird interaction between myself and Johnson, but we'll see if that plays out tonight.
Yeah, you had attempted to use the mind whisper ability that Aldea granted you for a short time, and it didn't go well. It sort of caused some sort of weird magical feedback loop between you and the person you were attempting to contact, Johnson, and that kind of held you up for a little while. But you shook out of it, and you shook it off, and did what you did. So with that, I guess before we move it on any further, we've got a little bit of bookkeeping stuff to do. Why don't we cover leveling up? Because some of you got enough experience points to level up. I think all of you, except for, unfortunately, Juniper the Halfling, who wasn't present. That said, Juniper, how many experience points are you sitting on from last time? Because I don't want you to overlook a potential level up as well.
I got 1.
Okay. And the way you get experience in this game is everyone has a couple of highlighted stats. And whenever you use either of those 2 stats, you get an experience point. The other way you get XP is by increasing your gnosis, or knowledge, of another character, which happens through various interactions. And I guess those of you who were here last time really racked up a lot of experience points. You had lots of opportunities to do things. So I think if you get, 5 experience points, you can do a level up?
Yes,
5.
sir.
And you can level up to improve the Enclave in some way, or there's a few different things. I guess you can improve one of your stats, any of your stats, whether it's Serene, Brutish, Beguiling, Kenning, or Effulgent. Did I miss any of them? I think that's all of them.
Yeah, you got it.
Or you can pick up a new move from your own playbook, or every one of the non-human races has some sort of one or more special things they could do as part of a level up. So among those of you who are leveling up, who would like to go first and tell us what you've chosen?
I made a decision.
All right. So what is Aldea doing with her level up?
We were talking about keeping it to an elven thing for off stream because it was going to be too stressful to look up anything else.
Yeah,
but
one of the elf abilities is you can choose a new move from anyone's playbook. Yeah, so that's what you're referring to, right? That's maybe too much looking up before the session starts. And you've got a movie to shoot tomorrow.
I have a movie to shoot tomorrow, guys. Check out remaltourneys.com. No, I actually was thinking about what happened with Ruga at the end. I changed my mind, and I decided to take something from the Orcish Warband.
Oh, that's so appropriate, especially considering the sort of new level of understanding you've gained of the Orcish way of interacting with the Spark. So what did you pick?
I agree. I picked a Warband of 1.
Oh.
Yes.
So I count as a small gang with harm and armor according to my accoutrement. Fighting as a small gang means that I gain +1 armor and +1 harm against single opponents. And when an actual small gang attacks me, neither side has a harm or armor bonus.
Oh, nice. I should mention that I've been chatting with Robert Bohl today. He's been basically telling me how excited he has been about what we've been doing. He's been really loving how each of you approach your characters and how we've been representing Demihumans. So I'd like you all to feel super good about that. But he's also been telling me the things I did wrong in a nice, respectful, friendly way, checking in with me to make sure I don't have hurt feelings about it. I really appreciated that. So, but no, I'm totally happy to take feedback on running the game and make sure I get it right as best I can.
If it makes you feel any better, when we ran Misspent Youth, we basically did the same thing, because there's his games are very particular, in that there's certain steps, and I think those steps add a lot to it. But they're easy to miss sometimes. Yeah. And so you're not the only one you get caught up in doing things a certain way, and then with different games like this, paying attention to details is, of course, we've been thankful to have Robert Bohl, the creator, on for both times we've run it.
Sure, and he actually checked it. I hope this has been helpful and not shitty. And like, no, it's super helpful and not shitty at all. It's so exciting to have like the game creator interacting with us like this. So yeah, that's been fun. But okay, so he let me know a couple things that we should do that we maybe didn't quite get quite as written. Is one is we're supposed to always change the highlighted stats, and I'd refer to that something that was kind of optional. There were a couple other little things. Another one is that Aldea, when you share culture with someone to give them an ability, you're supposed to essentially tell us some new thing about elven culture that we haven't learned yet. So It's not meant to be like an off-camera, I share culture and you get this. It's meant to be, I share culture and this is the culture I'm sharing. So that said, we had lots of awesome narrative opportunities to learn about elven culture, so I don't feel like we really missed out. The big one on my part, though, is that I said that armor only affects that harm resistance roll that you make. It does also actually reduce the amount of harm you take. So that said, I'm not retconning Stefan's demise.
I believe that I would have died anyway.
Most likely, yeah. So I'm not too worried about it. It's all, stuff that we can try to do a little bit better. And this is a play test and not just an actual play. So we're trying to represent the game as written and, kick the tires, so to speak. So I'm doing my best to do that. When I just run a game for the heck of it, I don't much care whether I get things wrong or not. It's just, let's play it and have fun. And it doesn't matter if we get a rule this way or that. But I really want to nail the Demihumans game as best as I can in this, and so with that, though, I think those were the main things that wanted to, especially the harm thing I wanted to point out, because if you do have armor, it does reduce the harm you take, and it's possible that might come up. We'll see.
Also, just to add on, I found another effect of the Warband of One. If I join another gang and fight alongside it, my presence is the equivalent of 15 people for calculating gang size. So if I can convince, without Ruga here, the orcs to come play with us, it's on.
Nice. All right. So before we jump into the tale, then I've got this lovely checklist that was in the playtest doc. There's a few things we want to make sure that we go through. One is to change the highlighted stats of everyone. So we're going to start with Krogu. Krogu, why don't you pick one of the other characters and tell them which stat you're most interested in seeing them make use of. And whoever is the recipient of this, if you already have that stat highlighted, tell Krogu to pick a different one.
Well, I have the highest currently of the people who are here, Gnosis with Aldea. So I'm going to pick her, and I'm going to say...
Oh, and thank you. I apologize. That was something I forgot. You're supposed to actually pick the person you had the highest Gnosis with, I guess, as the main default for this. So thank you for doing that. Carry on.
Certainly. I think I'm going to pick Brutish, simply because of the blood chaos from last time.
Fair.
Appropriate.
Fair.
All right. Then, Krogu, what's the other stat that you currently have highlighted? Because I get to pick the other one.
Oh, you mean me?
I get to pick. No, I guess we haven't found out what the other one is for Krogu. So, yeah, I'll pick Aldea then, yes. Well, what stat besides Brutish do you still have highlighted?
Well, I had, from last time, I had Serene and Effulgent.
Okay. I guess let's go with Beguiling then, because it sounds like you might try to convince some people to do some things, and I'm interested to see how that turns out. So I'll encourage that. And then, Aldea, who do you have the highest Gnosis with of who's here?
Krogu.
Okay, well, Krogu, what do you have currently selected for your highlighted stats?
I have Effulgent and Serene.
All right, so pick Brutish, Beguiling, or Kenning among Krogu's stats, of which one you'd like to see Krogu employ. Or which one's the most interesting to you?
I feel like Krogu is a gentleman, and even though I would love to see him go brutish on this wizard, I think he's going to do more talking from what it sounds like first. So we're going to go with Beguiling.
Worst stat.
And And let's see. Let's go with brutish as well. So just the other side of that coin, Krogu.
Hey, Robert. Good to see you, by the way, in the chat.
Hey.
So no matter what you pick, Trav, you're good. We can talk with my mouth or my fists.
All right. So Opti's been sitting there pretty quietly all this time, mostly because we've been recapping and dealing with stuff from last time, and he had to miss our part 2. Opti, why don't you pick which character among these 3? Never mind. There's only one other person to pick. So, of Stefan, the traitor human.
Stefan. Pick Stefan.
Stefan, yes. Would you like to pick Stefan or Stefan?
I previously, last session, had beguiling and brutish highlight.
All right, so you've got kenning, serene, or effulgent.
I think effulgent is always a fun one, so let's do that.
It is.
Oh, we'll see if I can use it for anything.
And
I tried really hard to make a meal last time with my effulgent, but it didn't quite get there.
And Stefan, I think, given how disruptive you were last time, I'm curious to see how Stefan remains serene under duress. So go ahead and pick serene for your other highlighted stat. And then
The answer is poorly. Sorry, just not to interrupt, but while we're on Stefan, maybe I'll do his improvement as well.
Oh, yes, thanks. We just got Aldea's level up, and then I moved on, didn't I? So
Yes. I didn't want to interrupt, but this is a good point to do it right now. So Stefan, as the trader, has a lot of interesting options, but I'm going to take a move from the trader playbook called Ties to Power. And that says you are politically connected and can contribute special resources to the Enclave or help abate some complications. When I take this move, I get to choose from a couple of different options. And I have chosen that I will heal a petal on the Enclave's flower of antipathy, because I believe that we damaged it last time with our disappearing of 30 people. So Stefan has a cousin who previously mentioned in the last tale, who mistreated someone, but he is also how is this? Do we talk about the human culture of the city very much in the first tale that I missed?
we really haven't much, no.
Yeah. So he's actually a junior member of the Senate, which I just made up that they have. And so this, he sends as soon as they finish.
They're very civilized.
Yes, as soon as they finish with this cavern, he sends a message out to his cousin to basically explain what happened. That these 30, that several people went missing, and they also had they were hallucinating because they were dehydrated from eating dwarvish food. And the after effects thereof, basically just saying, "Hey, can you put some spin on this, cousin?" And it wasn't us. They were at fault. Shouldn't have done that.
All right, misinformation campaign, fake news.
Yeah. So basically, tell the other senators how great your cousin's nails are still.
All right, before we move on, also, Trav, apologies for skipping. What is Krogu doing for his level up?
Oh, for his level up.
Yes.
I took another move from the Green Ward playbook. I chose Compelling Enigma.
Ooh, intriguing. Do you want to talk about that now, or shall we wait until you use it?
We can talk about it really quickly. Not to give away what all can happen with it, but the Green Ward reveals a secret or provides a cryptic riddle. When doing so to a demiurge character, I make an effulgent roll, and based on my result, things happen to that NPC. All
right. I have a feeling who you have that in mind for, but we'll see how that plays out. Now, Opti, what stats does Juniper currently have highlighted?
Beguiling and kenning.
All right, so Palmer, among brutish, serene, or effulgent, which one are you most interested in seeing Juniper make use of?
Well, I think all of these characters were sort of, everyone who's here is not very brutish. So I think I would like to see a halfling embrace the brutishness.
All right, and I'll go with effulgent because that's always interesting. That's not one
Those
of
are
the
my
ones you said,
two
right?
worst stats.
Sweet.
No. I'm gonna be playing. You know what? I don't need to. I'm not gonna level up this character. I'm not doing what you guys want me to do.
Yeah, you're not going to get a chance to level up these characters anyway. So I guess the highlighted stats in this case is more of a formality or a goading or a that's kind of a neat thing about this game, right? Is besides just being an experience points gain thing, it is sort of a way for everyone to sort of direct the narrative or suggest a direction to the narrative. So yeah, that right, Kithrain, yes, one of the choices for each of the characters is made by the Demiurge myself, so. Alright, with that, let's see. Another thing we need to do is the common wheel move. So, the common wheel move is a roll that uses the stat civility of the Enclave, which is +2 because of your democratic nature, and I think the Feast Hall is the other one that gives one. I forget which, but who would like to make the common wheel roll and be blamed for the results?
All right.
I'll do it tonight. I'm feeling gambly.
All right. That's I'm not sure where that confidence is coming after that Mind Whispers roll from last time, but let's see where it takes us.
Oh, always good to get a kick in the gut from you.
That's what I'm here for.
First and then Chaos Lord. Like you're just like to be. I rolled an 8.
An 8. Okay, that's pretty good. Here, I should get the. That means you get to pick, I think, some of the boons, but I also get to pick some of the threats that might come into play. And the way the boons work is you get to use them once per tale. Let's see, let me find the page for this. Thank you, Control F. Can you guys hear me talk when I'm not pressing this button?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I've been holding down the push to talk button I'm used to using all the time, but I don't really need to, do I? It's just wide
No,
open for
but you could make it a bit more sensitive because you are getting cut out at the end in the beginning.
Am I? Okay, that's probably
A little
not
bit,
happening on the stream. It's probably happening in Discord, but let me just adjust that briefly here. Pardon me. Instead of automatically adjust, let me dip that down some. All right. There we go. Hopefully that stops happening now. And, oops, I have to click the right button to make the faces come back. There we go. Here's our faces again. Okay. Alright, so I was looking up the common wheel move and results. Alright, nope, that's not the right page. There's a thing about missives as well, but I haven't really read those terribly thoroughly, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. Ah, nuts. I'm having trouble finding this page number. Give me a minute. Control F is not as helpful as I was hoping it would be.
Page 100, I think.
Oh, thank you. Aha! Choose 2 boons of the 3 available, and I choose 1 threat and 1 bane. The boons you can pick are someone gets to have their lifestyle payment covered for free based on the small plots of farming. Another option is you could have the Feast Hall open, which would allow you to find the right person you're looking for at the right time. The third option is finding something illicit on the black market. Each of those can only be used once over the course of the tale. You could pick 2 of the 3. So while you're doing that, I'm going to consider the banes. The only real bane that you have is the patron demands and reprisals. So there's a powerful patron who watches over the Enclave, who's powerful among the humans, and they oftentimes will want certain things, and if they don't get them, they might make things difficult for you instead of helping. What would you like to pick for your boons?
I think we're going to do the feast hall, find a person, and the third one. What was the third one
the
again?
Black market thing. You can find something illicit when you need to.
Help my team out here. Someone go buy something shadowy.
The threat that I'm going to pick, I think, is investigators. That seems appropriate based on what recently happened. So we can each call on those threats, or rather, the threat and the boons can each be called upon once during the tale, as well as the bane, I think. So with that picked, let's move on to lifestyle. Each of you needs to pay 1 or potentially 2 gold to cover your lifestyle, except for Krogu, because Krogu makes his own food.
I only have 1 gold, but on our downtime from the other day, I would have done some work. So,
well, if you'd like to make some money, then you'll have to let me know what you're going to do to make that money.
Sure. So I want to, well, I don't want to, but I'm going to serve as a curiosity and at an affluent demiurge character's social engagement.
Okay. So
I look weird, basically.
Yes, let's maybe call for a beguiling roll to see how well that goes.
Wouldn't it be amusing if the event was Johnson showing off his new troll?
That's a good suggestion, but I'm gonna hold that and pick a different option to say it's your patron, which is a different archmage that is even more powerful than Johnson.
Ooh. All right, I rolled.
I missed that. You cut out, or at least for me.
I rolled an 8.
An 8. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you make your 3 gold from showing up at the party and answering questions and posing for caricature portraits with people and various other indignities. And overall, it's taxing. You just realize how out of touch these humans are with that non-humans are people too, right? You see yourself as just a curiosity. I'm going to give you the option to either I feel like blackening a petal of weariness is a little bit too strong of a consequence, but something kind of along those lines. Do you have a suggestion on what toll this might take on Aldea?
I think that with her, after her epiphany, this all seems just frustrating, and I think some of that violence starts to rise in her that like we previously haven't seen. That like it's more of her frustration rather than that distant neutrality. So I think that kind of the rage is rising, and that's affected her personality a bit.
Okay, so yeah, you've given the humans a general impression that like elves are, wow, they're more grumpy and violent than I thought. I didn't realize they were so wild and dangerous. So you kind of give
blackened my own antipathy flower against the humans.
So yeah, there's no game stat or pedal blackening thing, but you've generally speaking affected the opinions of some rich and powerful humans that maybe the non-humans are more dangerous than we realized.
Okay.
And maybe that will come up or maybe it won't, but we'll see. Let's see.
See how dangerous I am.
Stefan, you've got piles of money laying around. You're probably not going to go hungry. Are you just spending that, or are you doing something else?
Oh, well, I have my business made 1 gold to pay for my lifestyle while I was doing other things.
Okay, so you're covered there. Yeah, you don't really have to worry about how you're getting it.
I still have 6 gold lying around.
And Juniper, how about you?
I don't remember making any gold from last time.
Nope, nobody made any gold.
So I'm going to assume that I spent the last time while I was gone, sometime during that time, doing one of the things that I need to gain gold. And so in addition to some smuggling here and there, I imagine that I will be extorting, burgling, or pickpocketing from an affluent population, which is kind of like smuggling.
Yeah, sounds good. That went so well for Aruga last time. Let's see how it goes for you. I think remain serene under duress roll for doing some careful burgling is appropriate.
All right. Wow, that's a 14.
Okay, awesome. You made 3 gold, and nobody was any the wiser. As a matter of fact, you're able to probably take advantage of humans overlooking you and seeing you as a child by hanging out by a human daycare and picking the pockets of the wealthy people who are collecting their children. And that went really well. In the sense that you made a lot of money, and yeah.
Having said that,
no one was hurt except for, the loss of a little bit of money from people who don't really need it anyway. Right?
Socialism. I'm going to, with that in mind, I'm going to spend the 2 gold that I need to spend in order to keep things running smoothly.
All right, sounds good. Let's see, is there anything else we need to do before we start? I guess some characters have start of tail moves. Does anyone have one that you'd like to employ there? Technically, that's where Stefan gets his +1 gold from his business, but we've already kind of covered that. All right, I think we're going to be good to start. I'm going to take a super brief break. I'm not even going to put the timer on because I just need to step away for a minute, and I'll be right back. And then we'll start the tale. So, pardon me, and we'll begin shortly.
Has anyone, in the meantime, played an apocalypse type game before? Like this, with the same mechanic type? This is my first time. So what do you think of Demihumans overall as compared to some of the other?
It feels both the same and very different. And it's interesting to me because I've streamed both of them, and with very different GMs. Like Oz is one kind of GM, and Mr. Johnson is a different kind. And so mechanically, it has felt very similar. And the amount of narrative control that I feel like we have is very similar, and that kind of thing. But it's also felt different because the moves are different, is the biggest thing. And just the way, stuff that you have is different. The entire feel of the universe is different. One of the things that was common across them is sort of creating the world as a group. And I think that really makes everything much more awesome.
If you like this... Oh, go ahead.
I think it helped us bond faster, asking the Gnosis questions and getting invested in the different corners of the world and stuff. I feel like since we've only been playing together 3 days, it kind of forced us to really become a team quickly.
Yeah, it's good for the players who, especially if it's I haven't played with you guys. You kind of skip over that. I don't know how to interact yet.
I've been following Robert, and the next one he's working on after Demihumans is a Deep Space Nine type game, and I thought that would be super dope to so put that on our radar, Cliff.
Oh yes,
that sounds pretty sweet.
It's officially on my radar now.
I'm in.
I've got to say that as a streamer or podcaster type person, it is so nice to have to be doing streams and things for game designers who give a shit that you're streaming their stuff. Robert Bohl's been amazing for that. Also, Cascade with Cascade Designs, GMing our Rural Punk game, which she designed. Our Talasaurian's been fantastic with our Kids on Bikes and Cyberpunk stuff. So I've got it's just a delight to be doing games for those people, and I think we're definitely encouraged to do more of that stuff. So I think you're likely to see more games from those people and others. Others like them and other companies like them that support streamers by retweeting and talking about their stuff, and just it's been so fun today to watch our Twitter feed and see Robert Bohl just talking about the different things that happened in the last session. That's really nice. So thanks, Robert, and the others I mentioned. So with that, let's move on to the tale. Last time I had a few days pass in between. This time we're going to be a little bit vague with some of the timing. I do want to start with something that happened like moments after the last one. Let me switch my music here. So Krogu. You were being led away by the humans, or walking with the humans away from the battle behind. Where's the song I'm looking for? Ah, there it is. And you head away down the tunnels with a little over a dozen humans. They left some of the other squads behind to apparently dispatch or capture the traitor human and the orc fugitive, who they mistook Ruga for. And they start moving along, and Byers, who's the red-haired sort of leader amongst the warrior types, turns to the last of the wizards they have with them and says, Stokes, it doesn't sound like it's going great back there. I think maybe you should use your trick to get us out. And Stokes, the wizard with the pointy hat, turns and says, I think we can get along just fine on our feet, maybe pick up the pace. Stokes, Byers says, just do the thing, use your magic. I haven't seen you cast a spell this whole time. And Stokes says, I'm a teleportation mage. I'm here for emergencies only. And there's a scream of someone dies as someone dies in the cavern behind, impaled by a crystal or something. Byers says, I think it's an emergency, okay? Just look at it this way. We each get a bigger cut, right? If they don't make it back? Stokes, you have no idea how expensive this spell is to cast. And Byers says, I don't care. We're going to make a pile of money. We've got the troll alive. And Stokes says, it's not about money. These reagents are difficult to acquire and purchase. Do you have any idea how hard it is to track down elf dust? Byers says, I don't care. Just buy more from some elves next time you visit one of their enclaves or something. How many elves do you think are left? So they argue back and forth, and before long, Byers is about to draw his sword. Says, get us out of here. And Stokes says, fine, and reaches into his pouch and begins to lay out a circle with some dust and speaking some words, and says, everyone remain very, very close to me. Gather up. You don't want to be caught on the edges of this thing. And there's another scream that ends in a ends abruptly from back down the cavern as Stokes is just about to finish his spell. One of the other humans says, we should probably go back and as they're moving to go. All of a sudden, Krogu, you are bright sunlight outdoors in the beautiful shining human city. Like it looks like it's a market square area. There's someone starting, persimmons and oranges. Oh my God. And then like people start screaming, and you look over and see there's like the person who had said we should go and help. Apparently like half of them was left behind. And they just sort of fall into a pile.
He told them not to move.
Krogu will look at that wizard and say, enjoy that while it lasts. There are about to be no elves left in the world.
thank you for that tip. I think that was the point I was making earlier. As he looks over to Byers, and Byers goes, "You, just because we get a higher split from fewer people." And then Stokes speaks up and says, "I told him to stay close, didn't I? I told you all to stay close." And one of the other humans who's over the gory pile, "You didn't say, or else we'd be cut in half." And Stokes says, "It was implied. Come on, Johnson's tower is just over there. Are you still coming peacefully, Stone One?" And Byers looks up over at you, like as if beginning to realize, oh yeah, the troll might change his mind.
Consider that I, in the last week, have saved the life of one of yours. All you have done today is cost yourselves blood.
Byers turns back to the wizard Stokes and says, "I think that means yes."
And he starts walking towards the tower that Byers indicated.
All right, where's Juniper? Because there was a fracas in the feast hall and lots of commotion and things went on, and you would have certainly been informed and probably have gotten involved under normal circumstances. Why weren't you there, and where are you now? Juniper?
Oh, sorry, but I didn't hear you say Juniper.
Oh, sorry. I might have said Opti, but either way, it's you. So you weren't here last time, and there was stuff going on in the feast hall, and stuff happened. You certainly would have known about it and gotten involved under normal circumstances, but you didn't. Why not?
I was doing some smuggling, making a little bit of money for the Enclave. Also, I had the thought that wizard was after Krogu, and I thought maybe I could do a couple of things to slow him from returning, or maybe mess with his schedule, or even just do reconnaissance. So I was up there doing a number of different things. But I've come back to the feast hall to check on things.
All right, so you had been planning on returning to the feast hall, but you were checking in on one of the local taverns down in the human town, sort of in the outskirts. And as you were there, I guess just picking up a few things and taking care of some stuff, you overhear one of the humans saying, "Come on, let's get out of here. It's just a couple of streets down. It might be our only chance to see a troll."
Well, that definitely sparks my attention. I can only assume that they're talking about Krogu, so...
He's probably the only troll you've ever met.
Right. So I assume that I would follow them if they're going that direction to see if I can't get a look at what's going on.
Yeah, it seems like the tavern itself is starting to empty. It wasn't terribly busy because it's the middle of the day, but I mean, the taverns in Carindal are never entirely unoccupied. And you make your way out into the bright and broad city streets and find that there are lots of humans out on the streets. It's like there's a parade or a festival or something. And it seems like they're all going somewhere, and you hear the word troll coming up a few times.
Do I see Krogu?
Taking a look around, I guess, why don't you, let's do a move here. I think it sounds like you're trying to ken a fraught situation.
Yeah, that sounds right. So here's my kenning. You know what? I have the convivial and shrewd. So if I make myself the center of attention at a social gathering, I can roll beguiling instead of kenning. So can I, if this is like a bunch of people talking about it, can I sort of go like, "Hey, everybody, what's going on? Like, you know, we want to buy some pork rinds. Oh, hey, what's going on up there?" You know, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, you start doing that, and some of the, "Hey, we're going to see the troll. They brought a troll in. I don't have time for that." But yeah, you start making yourself the center of attention, and that allows you to use your beguiling instead. They don't seem very interested in stopping for what you're doing, but they do seem potentially interested in telling you what's up.
That'll be a 9.
A 9, okay, so that's a pretty good roll. That means you can ask one question of the question list on the Can A Fraught situation. It's on page 26 of the book. Do you want me to go over them?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's see. How may I best slip away, invade, or avoid impasse? What is obscured or being missed? Who or what is most dangerous to me? Where is the person I'm seeking? Maybe that one seems most appropriate.
That one's the right one. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you get the sense that Krogu is. It appeared with some adventurers in the South Bazaar, and there was some talk of them traveling to the Arcane College. Something about one of the wizards put up a bounty for it. So, are you going to head on over there and see if you can catch sight of the troll they brought in?
Yes, of course.
All right, it's easily done for you. You just have to avoid being overlooked and stepped on, but it's easy enough to weave your way through the crowds and on the edges of things. And before long, you catch sight of a party of adventurers. One of them a wizard, most of them wearing armor. They all look a bit worse for the wear. Some of them are a little bloody, but amongst them is Krogu, who is walking along, and you hear a gasp from a child nearby. Mommy, is that a troll? Yes, dear, I believe so. That's what they say. It was in the tunnels. It looks scary. Oh, they're very frightening, dear. I hope there aren't more of them down there.
Did I hear that?
No, that's out of your earshot.
But I
Juniper
heard it,
hears
right?
it. Yes.
Yeah, I would say, actually, the trolls are very, very nice. They're like big rocks, like they can only hurt you really if they fall on you, but otherwise they're great for sitting on and they make great friends.
And the little kid you see is a young boy, you think, looks over at you, not much taller than you are, looks over at you and looks over at the troll and says, It looks sad, Mommy. Why is it sad? Oh, they don't have feelings, dear. They're rocks.
Oh, no, you have that wrong. This one does have feelings, absolutely. Every bit as much feelings as you or I. And look at me, I'm a wee lad, smaller than yourself. And this one, he's my friend, saved me as a matter of fact, not just 2 weeks ago. I'm lying, of course, but...
I think maybe a fast talk beguiling type role would come into play here to see how well this goes over.
All right, I will beguile someone. That is a 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so with that, So they're convinced to go along and provide something tangible assures them of your dependability. So as long as you've got a little piece of candy to give to the kid or something to share, or some little
pork
trinket.
rinds.
Oh, pork rinds, yeah. So you share some pork rinds. Oh, well, I suppose maybe the halfling would know. I mean, they do live near other strange things up at the Enclave. Is that safe? I've heard things about your food in the Enclave.
Now I'm offended. Actually, can I invoke the unreal and say that I made these pork rinds? No, they won't do anything good. Anyway, I'll just say that I made these pork rinds myself. They're quite delicious. I'm quite the cook. We cook the same foods as you have up here, except I think Whispers leans in and says, but better.
The little kid gives you a little wink and turns and says, no, it's gnomes, Mommy. Gnomes are the ones who eat weird food, not halflings.
Aye, the gnomes do eat weird food.
If you say so, dear. Well, we should probably get back home.
Lady Jen says I should start selling mini trolls like pet rocks.
That's nice.
I'm gonna set up a side business smuggling pet trolls. Maybe with the hair, right? With the rocks with the fuzzy hair that goes.
They have a jeweled belly button.
Yeah.
You just have to promise that they'll grow up into a full-size troll, right?
Mere
only
400 years.
if you take good
Plant
care
this
of
in
it.
your backyard.
And they live for centuries, so you might not even get to see it grow up.
This is a troll egg. Sit on it for 10 years. And it'll hatch.
And so Krogu, you are led through the streets of Carindal, just the tall, shining white buildings, just incredibly opulent statues everywhere, like a fountain plaza at every street intersection. All these businesses and cafes around, and it seems like a lot of people have turned out like this is a parade of some kind. And but you finally come to the front gates of the Arcane College, and I guess Stefan or Palmer, why don't you describe what this looks like?
What the human city is sort of
Not the human
like
city in
this
general,
section,
but like
or
just as they're approaching the Arcane College, where a lot of the wizards are trained and do their studies.
Sure. The Arcane College is a sprawling campus, and the most notable feature is that it's, everyone's sort of seen a university campus, especially like a Cambridge or an Oxford, like the older ones, where a lot of older red brick buildings. And this is what we have here as well. Two notable differences in this Arcane College is one that's actually walled off with this tall red brick wall. Most of the other things in the city are sort of white plaster color or marble, like very not red bricks, but this is all these red bricks. The gate as they approach is actually built of glazed bricks, so they're shiny and blue all around the gate, and there's the bricks are inlaid in patterns and stuff around this gate. So that's one feature. The second feature that I have in my mind is that there are like multiple towers of different heights, and the different heights denote how powerful the
Right. So one of the towers is probably one of the taller ones. Is Johnson's tower, and they bring Krogu there and sort of take you through. You have to sort of stoop through the double doors, even though they're rather large, just not large enough for trolls to normally pass through. And there's this large area with a fancy marble floor and like paintings in the ceiling across depicting magicians in duels against strange beasts, which are bestial depictions of orcs and other things. And there's a kind of a reception desk area. There's really not too many people around, though. It's fairly quiet and austere. And Byers goes and speaks to the person at the desk, who they have sort of a conversation with the person at the desk, is referring to you're gestured at a number of times. And before long, a large sack of jingling stuff, probably coins, is handed off to Byers, who turns back and holds it up and smiles at the other humans, and they all seem kind of we're right next to the troll that might be upset about this, but some of them give you furtive looks. But I guess before long, a few other humans step out through a wall, and you realize there's sort of a translucent bluish color, and they walk towards Krogu. And one of them, you realize they all look identical, and one of them speaks, "We will escort the troll this way." "Very good," Byers says. "We've been paid, so we'll be off. Good luck, big guy." And the humans kind of give you a wide berth and start wandering off, except for the wizard Stokes, who remains there. And
what?
Do you cooperate? It seems like they're leading you towards a wall that it sort of opens up where there was no door before. It's the wall the ghostly human forms had stepped out of. This way, please, yep. Stokes says.
Yeah, I'm still going with them.
And they lead you into this side antechamber, which is sort of a round room with an unusual patterns on the floor. And just everything here is so weirdly and opulently decorated. It's all very ostentatious. And once you've stepped into that room, the Stokes says, well, thank you for being so cooperative. I'd never realized your kind could be, well, dealt with in a reasonable way.
Had you tried?
Well, no, I mainly was there in case something went terribly wrong, which I suppose in some ways it did. If you survive this, would you mind speaking with me sometime? There are things I'd like to learn from you.
I will tell you a truth now, if you like.
Oh, yes, just a moment, and concentrate and unrolls this, takes out like a small tube and unrolls a scroll and a quill and hovers their hand over the quill. The quill rises up, and as does the paper. It's sort of floating nearby, poised to take notes, apparently. Yes, let's go ahead. I'm ready.
Your grandchildren will think of magic as a myth.
Oh, that soon, you think?
Very certain.
Well, that's quite troubling. I suppose I should advise my son to go into accounting then.
Shameful how it could have been avoided.
You think it could be avoided? The loss of the spark? The fading of magic? Is there something we could yet do?
You could. You won't.
You seem so sure, but, well, I really must be going. I hope we have a chance to converse further. I'm sorry about your friends. I'm not sure if they were your friends, actually. I'll go now. And he steps out of the room, and the wall sort of closes back up. And the ghostly human guards fade away, and you find yourself alone in this chamber. For some time. Let's cut back to Aldea and Stefan. You had been left back in the cavern, and Aldea, you had called up some vines to seal up the area. And did you return to the Enclave, or did you go someplace else?
I think I think Ruga probably went to kind of fill in her warband. So that leaves me and Stefan, and I think I would stay close to him to discuss what we might do to help Krogu.
The problem, we did a lot, and it feels like Krogu just decided to go along, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure we should do anything. We should, though, shouldn't we? He seems a little flustered still, and also pretty weak, and I believe he's still hurt a lot.
You realize that you're fully healed.
Oh, nice.
Your flower
vitality
has been restored by the crystal cavern in some ways, but your brutish stat has been permanently reduced by 1.
Yes.
Is that from weakened state, or is there some other effect that accounts for that?
No, that would be what it is. Yeah, I was just trying to qualify that.
Okay, and I want to ask you, did Stefan actually die and come back to life, or was he just near death and healed?
I believe that he was just near death. I don't believe that he was resurrected in this case.
Okay. Just to clarify, I was offering for you to define that, not asking.
Yes, no. Okay. Yeah. No, I do not believe that he was, he was healed. This world does not have resurrection.
So you made your way back up to the town, the Enclave, and found that actually few signs of the humans' passage. Actually, Aldea, as you moved on up, you did see a spot where there was a circle of appeared to be like a blackened dust, and it made you feel uneasy. Did you take a moment to check it out, or did you move on past?
I would take a moment to use my Ranger's knowing to try to see what happened.
Okay, go ahead and make a roll for that. That's is that a kenning test for that move?
Yes, it is. I'm all about the 8s tonight. I got another one.
Okay, that's pretty good. Do you know what page that's on?
It is. This one is from the.
I found it.
Play guide.
So you get to ask one.
But I can read it.
Yep. Do you know which one you'd like to ask, or shall we go over them?
It might be helpful for the stream to go over them.
Let's see. There's who is the last person here before me. You kind of know that. What process, natural or otherwise, birthed this place? What strong emotions have been most recently felt here? What words have been said most recently here? What has been done recently in this place or to it? Or what is wrong with this place and how can I fix it?
Let's go with that last one.
Well, in the sense you're not in the Crystal Cavern, it seems, I think, okay, yeah, you get the sense that human magic has essentially appropriated somehow some of the power of this place, and it's being siphoned away. It doesn't relate to this powder here, but you get the sense of the way the energy seems to be flowing away from the Crystal Grove and towards something else. It's not just fading. It's being siphoned.
Dislike. I am gonna disrupt the circle and break it. Spread the dust around.
Okay. As you move to spread the dust around, like you just noticed something about it. It's not like dirt or dust. Have you ever seen another elf past the next world? Or has that always been?
Yes.
Okay.
I've lived so long. I've seen it all.
You recognize this dust as the remains of an elf or elves that have passed on. Like the wizard who used them, or whatever this, like somebody has made a circle of the dust that was elf corpses, basically, in order to do whatever they did.
I get a little mad at that. So, with my newfound feelings, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of raise some vines and roots to break that circle, since I can't kind of get rid of it.
You can't. It's just a matter of spreading it apart. It's somebody sprinkled dust around in a circle.
What I kind of want to do is like break the ground and have these vines like cast over it, and like this small, almost wooden headstone like feature. So it's an homage to the body of the elf that passed to the next world.
All right. So Stefan, you see Aldea doing something, and it seems like she's getting upset, and then does something unusual to the ground. These vines rise up, and as she described, what are you doing throughout this, and what are you thinking about it?
I think that he is just sort of listening and watching and paying attention, and just sort of at the moment he's just been through a lot, and is not quite sure what they're a little bit directionless, which he's not used to. So he's sort of relying on. She's noticed something odd. Okay, I shall wait. Oh, she's doing this. Okay, I shall observe.
As you're observing, you see something weird happen. Like it doesn't. Like your eyes kind of hurt to notice it. There's kind of a strange flickering of something, and then I guess Aldea, as you kind of finish and turn over to Stefan, there's this sound, and then a clinking and squishing as some sort of a horrible, gory remains of part of a human just fall into a pile nearby.
Oh, that's oh.
Did I miss something?
There's oh my. That looks like half of a person.
Not quite, technically. More like a third, but...
an approximate fraction of a person.
Did you do...
No. It seemed to just come out of the air.
I mean, technically it should have been there already, so this is my cool GM retcon of... Oh,
I
forgot
more
about
fun
the dead
this
body
way.
there, so... I shouldn't reveal those secrets, but...
Is it the bottom half or the top?
It's more of like a front part, like they were starting to like run to go help, and then the thing happened, so yeah.
So like a face and an arm and shoulder.
So yeah, and our safety tools, people mentioned maybe being a little not okay with the super gory details, so I feel like I'm treading on the edge of that line, but I was not one of those people. I have a tendency to gross people out with some of my combat descriptions, so if Sarah
I have
happened
also
to
done
Bobby's
that.
character's arm in the monofilament whip last time, I think, or Sarah and Opti were there for that, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know this person?
He's kind of he's still got his sword with him, so he just sort of reaches out.
Stefan, give me a serene under duress roll.
Oh boy. Let's see. What do I have in serene? I have 0, so plus 0, a 10.
A 10. Okay, so you're able to remain calm, I guess, and kind of keep your stomach where it's supposed to be. At first you don't think there's enough to recognize, but apparently like the front half of their head was part of what fell through, and you recognize Eric, one of the younger adventurers.
Yes, one of the adventurers who was escorting Krogu. He sort of thinks about like saying his name, and he's like, thinks to himself, I guess it doesn't really.
All right. Well.
Do you think maybe they use some sort of magic here?
I look down at the circle and at the half of a body and up at Steph. Yes, I do.
I suppose that was a stupid question. To rephrase, do you know anything about the kind of magic that they used?
I know that they used the dead of my kin.
I'm going to cut now back to Juniper. What have you been doing?
I believe I would have just tried to been following along to where they were taking Krogu, trying to get a better understanding of what might have happened and what they're doing, where they're going, and after that's settled...
You saw them go to the Arcane College and go in through the gates there. You're not normally allowed in that section. You're not sure, actually, technically, if you're allowed in. Probably not, but would you like to try to go on into the Arcane College, or just observe from here?
No, I'd definitely I'd like to follow as close as I can.
Okay, I guess you managed to catch up fairly well to the proceeding. They're not going terribly fast because Krogu's kind of setting the pace, and I don't imagine Krogu is jogging through the city. So you're able to catch up fairly close. So you kind of catch up almost right up to them just as they're passing through the gate. Once you get up to the gate, you kind of see there are a couple of guards there, kind of watching things. They're mostly kind of ogling the troll that's going by because they haven't seen a troll before. If you'd like to proceed further, you get the sense you're going to have to be clever about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to be clever about it. I don't have a move that lets me sneak.
I think that's typically covered under Serene under Duress, unless you have something special.
Nope, that'll work. Yeesh. That's a 5.
A 5 is not a good result. 5 means you failed. Let's see what that means here.
I had such good rolls for a time.
Okay, so remain serene under duress. The demiurge may bring the full force of the duress upon you. So, I guess how are you trying to get through? You just trying to slip past the gate and hope they don't notice you, or climb over it, or do something else?
Yeah, my initial thought was to just sort of follow along, like, and as they're closing the gate, just sort of walk in, like, turn sideways and slide in as if I belong there.
Seems
trying
like
not to be noticed.
Yeah, it seems like the gate's wide open, but you go to kind of slip on through, and then you feel a firm hand on your shoulder. Excuse me, child, shouldn't you be in school? You're not a child. Ugh. Takes his hand off and kind of wipes it on his robe. What are you doing here? And you look up and see there's a guard looking down at you. They on their breast they bear the seal of the Arcane College. They must be one of the local guards for the college itself.
I am going to take my shillelagh and strike him in the nards.
Oh, okay.
and then just run into a corner, like somewhere I could hide.
Okay, I think that's definitely a brutal attack. I've been
somebody
hit in
challenged
such a way
me
similarly, not with the shillelagh, mind you, and,
with my brutish.
Okay.
If he wasn't expecting it, it might be an ambush.
Yeah, almost, but I think we need to dice roll to see how well this goes. So.
It's a dice roll either way.
Oh man!
No,
that's
if you
7.
ambush someone, I think you just do it. Unless I mistake it, but
ambush is listed under brutish.
Okay, so
but that's a 7.
A 7. Okay, so you don't actually hurt, or you whack like right in the cod piece, and like there's a armor cod piece there, so it's not quite as effective as you see, but I'm gonna pick the option where they relent meekly, showing no threat, and step back. Oh, careful there! There's no need for that. And they let you slip away. It seems like they're not opposing you. They're kind of taken aback by this sudden use of unwarranted violence upon their person. They're not doubled over like you normally see people do when you whack them.
Yes,
so you managed to slip away. Are you slipping into the college or away back towards the city?
Yes, definitely like further in. Like if there was like a column or a set of stairs or a door that I could run into, that sort of thing. It's
sort of a big wide gate, and there's this sprawling campus with lots of towers. You go running and hey, not that way! Hey, you're going the wrong way! What are you... Guards! Wait, I am a guard! Someone who's not on gate duty, chase down that halfling! And most of the guards here are generally so surprised or like, what? Huh? You sort of go running in and look around. You can see like there's a few young adult students who sort of are walking along with their books and see you and... What's that doing there? You feel like a wild animal that's run into a library or something.
There's a troll. He's following me. He must be upset about your taking his brother. And then I'll run away.
The troll
anytime somebody catches me, I'll just say, "There's a troll."
Okay, so you go running around. Mostly people aren't opposing you so much. They're just kind of surprised to see you here and don't know what's going on. There's not really many guards or fighters around, so as long as you don't stay in one place for too long, you're probably okay. So as for doing that, Krogu, you've been in this antechamber for some time. After a little while, there's a you can feel something about the room shift. It's very unusual. Normally the ground kind of stays where it is and the stone does predictable stuff, but you get this sense that you sort of rotate and move. Up, maybe, or down. It's hard to tell. And there's very little sound to it or other motion. But it doesn't last for very long, and then it stops. And then the wall sort of opens up into another sort of round doorway, and it looks like there's an entirely different room out there. Elaborate carpeting with paisleys and filigrees, many bookshelves, desks all over the place. This large kind of weird library space with these winding stairs going up and around, and it's a bit MC Escher-esque. But as you look in, you can see that there is no one in here except for one person who is they have their back to you, and they're wearing these long, elaborate robes that spill down to the floor below them, with sort of this arched, kind of pointed collar behind, obscuring most of the head. Though you can see the pointy hat sticking up as well. And as you take this in, the Archmage Johnson turns around slowly and looks at you. He's got a goatee and kind of a pointed beard, waxed, and elaborate tattoos on his forehead. Many of which you see are symbols that you've mostly seen dwarvish writing. There's some elvish characters in there. Maybe some gnomish as well, but you haven't had as many interactions with them. And he turns, and to regard, he's got this large tome tucked in his left arm, and he's looking at. What do you do?
Krogu looking around and
he's looking a lot fancier than he was when he was going through the Enclave before.
I was gonna say. Krogu looks at him curiously, and then finally says, "You adorn yourself with dead words, and adorn this dead paper with more of the same. Why?"
The dead have their uses. You have come willingly to my tower. So strange after the magical assault from before. I was not expecting this. You cost me a great deal more gold than if you'd been brought here dead, but I'm glad to see you in a more useful form. So, I've answered your question. Answer mine. Why? Why have you come here, and willingly?
I came to tell you a secret.
I probably already know it. There's likely nothing your people know that I haven't already gleaned, but I suppose, if it was important enough for you to give yourself up to share it with me, I might as well listen. Would you care for a refreshment?
I do not consume your food, no.
Well, I'd offer you a seat, but I'm afraid you'd crush them all. Very well. What is this secret? Make it quick. I've much to do.
Kroger will basically take a seat where he is, lean down even closer, contemplate him for a second.
And all of a sudden there's this bright flash of light, and like a few feet away from where the wizard was standing, he sort of starts and looks, and you can see there's another similarly adorned person with a slightly taller and fancier pointed hat with some little glowing balls floating around it, just standing a few feet away from. And Johnson turns this. Archmage Cortland, this is quite irregular, Cortland says. Quiet, Johnson. You've interfered in matters that are not your bailiwick. Johnson says, Please, Archmage Cortland, we can discuss our differences at a later time. As you see, I have a guest here. What do you do, Krogu?
Guest. Do you normally send 30 armed people to gather a guest for money?
30, you say? The person at the reception desk said there were 10 or so.
That's how many came back, yes.
Yes, Johnson, this is an absolute mess. 4 other wizards dead. Only the teleportation mage returned, and you know how useless that one is. Stokes? He's not so bad. He's mastered the the transportation spells that have eluded most of us. Most of you, Cortland says. Half-rate charlatans, meddling in matters you don't understand.
Worse than you think.
Johnson said, I haven't trying to have a conversation here. Would you mind just waiting a moment? This doesn't concern you. And he turns back to Cortland and says, Now, Cortland, I'd be happy to discuss your grievances on this matter in whatever means is appropriate, but not now. The troll was about to reveal a secret.
I will tell you both.
Which Cortland steeples his hands as, well, I suppose I shouldn't interrupt then. And they both turn. You definitely piqued their curiosity. The word secret seems to unlock a lot of doors when wizards are concerned. They both turn to you expectantly then?
Cortland, you are the patron of the Enclave, are you not?
Johnson turns. Patron? This is new information. Cortland's, shh. I have been known to, help with certain matters, yes.
And you are the great wizard here.
The greatest, it is undisputed. And Johnson gets a bit of a cough, but doesn't otherwise say anything else to Cortland's raised eyebrow.
Then you will care about this. I will tell you a truth, then I will tell you the secret. Johnson, was it?
Yes, that's me. Please get on with it. I can't bear the suspense.
You visited the Crystal Cavern?
Yes, the cavern. There is a hive there of crystal beings.
It has a name, or had. The Walking Rock Grove.
Which when you see Cortland's jaw drops a little bit, he starts to go a bit pale.
You used your magic there, didn't you?
Why, yes, it's a great source of power. I was able to make a connection to it, but it fought me back and did not go well. We were driven off.
Enjoy your connection while it lasts.
You can see Cortland
starts done so.
Sorry.
You have killed it.
As you're speaking, you can see Cortland start visibly shaking. And then he draws out a wand, points it at Johnson, who turns like, and then Johnson evaporates into this reddish mist, and his robes and things fall to the ground. Cortland turns over to you and says, I thought you were supposed to protect the Spark Seed. It's been violated? That's the whole reason I've looked after your enclave. I
Pity.
thought you were effective guardians.
From your own kind, we are to defend it.
Yes! Don't you understand what wizards are? We have no spark of our own. We have only what we can take. The secrets we can pry away. The dying remnants of the non-humans of this world.
Then let me tell you the secret he will never hear. It did not need to die.
He sort of waves his wand some and speaks a word, and suddenly you find yourself in the Enclave. Just standing near, I guess, Stefan, you happen to be... Where are you in the Enclave at the moment? You've sort of returned back. Where have you headed?
Yeah, so we returned back after Aldea broke the news that they were using elf dust for their horrible magic, and he had to send the message to his cousin, the senator, and during that time, he's deeply affected by this revelation that they're using elf dust. I think that he is at least partially aware that that's how wizards do their thing, is by stealing magic. And so he goes into sort of a he's going to intimately share human culture with Aldea. So he talks to her about how humans are so curious and so adaptable, which can both be really great, except that the negative side of that is that it makes them into these takers that they want to know and they want to share, and some of them aren't willing to do it in a positive manner, and that's basically the whole tragedy of the human race, and basically the Great War and everything. So they have this culture of appropriation, but it's because they just they want to know so badly because of this curiosity they can't put down. And that's one of the reasons why he lives in the Enclave and tries to model those behaviors in a positive way, share their culture in a way that's good instead of dickish.
Right,
And
so share this. What is the game effect of sharing?
So Aldea gets +1 forward to dealing with humans for the rest of this tale.
And +1 forward means you get it on your next roll.
Cool.
Ongoing means it would be for every roll afterwards.
I believe
during
it's
the tale.
forward. Let me double check and make sure. Yes, it is forward.
Okay. Yes, the next time you interact with humans, this new understanding, the way you've, I guess, probably never thought of it this way before. It's certainly doesn't mollify your reactions to what's been done, but it does help you to understand them a bit more, which you might be able to use. As you're talking, I guess you're back at the nail factory?
I think no. I think we're outside of the feast hall.
Okay.
Just sort of. We wanted to figure out what to do, and but Stefan was so like emotionally affected by this, and Aldea is always so serene, but he can tell that she's not because of her newfound anger. And then a wizard and a troll appear. Is that what happens?
No, at this point, a troll, actually. There's a flash of light, and
Oh.
Krogu sort of thuds to the ground from a foot above it, just outside the feast hall. And Juniper, you're sort of running around in the college, trying to find out something, but this place is confusing. There's all these towers, they're different heights, there aren't proper signs around. Every time you move, someone's startled and surprised to see you. What are you doing? If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it looks like you're on mute.
I would have been trying to find out where they were keeping or taking Krogu. I know he's not there anymore, but Juniper doesn't know that. So
Okay.
he's looking for that particular wizard's lab.
Okay, you find Johnson's tower. Some people sort of like gave you directions about the troll went that way. They took him into Johnson's tower. So you find your way to Johnson's tower, and there's the doors up there, and there's not really anybody who's actually barring your access to things. Though you do catch a glimpse of there's a couple of guards who are running around frantically, usually in the wrong direction, trying to catch up to you. So you get the sense if you stay around one place for too long, you'll get caught, and eventually they'll probably catch up to you unless you slip away. But for now, you're just so unexpected that you can probably get away with this for a little while. So what are you doing once you get to Johnson's tower?
Well, I was going to see if I can find Krogu.
All right, I guess can a fraught situation sounds like the right move to go with here.
All right. Now, I will. Have I been making myself the focus of attention?
If you like, it certainly seems appropriate to me.
Okay, so then I'll roll beguiling with that for my convivial and shrewd.
All right, so you get to the room like the receptionist in Johnson's elaborate entry room is. Who's this? What are you doing here?
Oh, it's me. I'm been called to clean up after the troll. You know, they're just so messy and they scritch up everything and little droppings of stone, so filthy and yet easy to clean up. And so they've called me here. Just point me in the right direction. That's a 14.
It points over at a relatively featureless part of the wall. That way? Pardon me, I'll check in. Oh, they're not responding. So basically picks up the small stone and tries to communicate through it. It's serving the function of a telephone, effectively, but it's...
So what I'm looking for is where's the person I'm seeking?
Oh yeah, you get to ask 3 questions, right?
Yeah. How may I best slip away, invade, or avoid impasse? And who or what is most dangerous to me?
All right, sorry, what was that first one?
Where is the person I'm seeking?
Okay, the person you're seeking is, at least as far as anyone here knows, is up in Johnson's study area. So, at the top level of the tower. What's the next one?
All right. How may I best slip away, invade, or avoid impasse?
Well, there's a few different ones. I guess as far as slip away goes, just keep moving. But invade would be, I guess he's gestured you over there. Not quite sure what to do, but it seems like going up to that wall has something to do with it. And maybe they have something magic they would do. Avoid impasse being, don't let the people think too long about who you are or what you're doing here, because their sort of a surprised response is the advantage you have. And then what's the last one?
I'll change it to what is obscured or being missed.
What is obscured or being missed? I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm a bit stumped by that question.
Or maybe who is in control of this situation? That's not really a situation, is it? I don't know that I need the third one. That wasn't really what I was going after, so I think I'll let you off.
There's some sort of political thing going on between the archmages. You're not quite sure what the game is, but yeah, there's the wizards, you've always kind of thought of them as being like a singular force all working together, but you're getting the sense, maybe by the different sizes of towers and the general disarray and confusion here, that maybe the wizards aren't all working together. Maybe they're each doing their own thing.
Okay. So with that in mind, I will continue to... Well, I'll go to the place where they sort of indicated I could use to invade, and then I'll keep moving. And...
As you walk over to that wall, it sort of spirals open into a large round door that leads into this rather elaborate round domed antechamber.
All right, I'll start booking it up there, stealthily.
You move on into there, and you find it's just a single room, and then the wall goes, and there's this bit of movement to it, and then the wall goes and opens up again, and what you see is this library that I described before, but in the library there is you can see there is a wizard there who's moving a wand around, and there's a sort of swirling magic just above a pile of robes, and some other stuff, kind of stringy, fleshy, maybe even bloody, misty stuff there, and he swirls it around. It sort of like swirls around in like this reverse tornado, and then it all seems to be like going up towards this point at the top where it's disappearing, and then robe and all, it's gone in a moment, and the wizard starts to turn, and you recognize him as the Archmage Cortland, who is often a patron for the Enclave. He has not noticed you yet. What would you like to do?
I'm going to yell out, "How could you have killed him?" And then I'll bonk him on the head with my shillelagh.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to try to
This
ambush...
is Palmer's fault, by the way.
You don't need to do what I say.
All right, so you go running across and get your shillelagh out and go to whack the Archmage Cortland.
Because he killed Krogu.
Yeah, you don't see any sign of Krogu in here.
11!
All right. What? And then whack.
The rolls are so good.
And then his eyes roll back up in his head, and he falls to the ground, crumpling unconscious. And then there's another flash of light as several contingency magics go off. And the wizard disappears, is no longer there. It leaves behind a whoosh of flame that you're in the midst of.
I killed him!
You take 3 points of harm from the contingency firebolt, or whatever it is, and that's reduced in damage by your armor. But then you must also make a roll to suffer harm. So 2d6 plus 3 minus your armor. You don't want to roll high, but you know.
So wait, I'm rolling 2d6 plus 3?
Yes. The higher the result, the more the harm does to you, basically.
Okay, so 2d6, my armor is 1, so 2d6 plus 2?
That's correct. And you also took 2 boxes of harm, which meant, not boxes, you blackened 2 of the petals of mortality on your sheet.
That's I rolled a 10, so 12 total.
Okay. So, I'm going to say that you are succumbed to pain, are incapacitated, and unconscious. And we'll cut back to Krogu, Aldea, and Stefan back in the Enclave.
Krogu.
If you played a lot of Wizards in first edition, then
I didn't play much first edition, but I have played a few Wizards.
it shows.
Krogu, are you alright?
This is like one of the most powerful archmages, and yeah, Juniper just cold-cocked him. Did knock him out, that did work, but yeah, the whole, like, get the wizard out of there so he doesn't die spell. Was not expecting that to go off, but...
Krogu, what happened? How did you get back here?
Kroger's looking around. I have been moved again. This is tiresome. Also, it makes me queasy.
Well, what happened? Where did they take you?
They took me to their college, to Johnson's Tower.
And go on.
Johnson was not supposed to do what he did. Cortland appeared angry.
And what Go ahead.
Sorry, just to clarify, out of character, we all know who Cortland is, right?
Yeah, maybe not everyone in the Enclave is aware of Cortland's patronage and protection of the Enclave, but you all certainly are.
Okay.
Stefan, you've had direct dealings with Cortland from time to time. He's very aloof and dismissive of you and everyone else you've seen him talk to, actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right. What did Cortland do?
He argued a bit, then he liquefied Johnson, and then sent me here after I told him a secret he did not yet know. Cliff, that reminds me, what I told Cortland, would that be enough? This is what I was hoping to do, to trigger the compelling enigma move.
Oh, yes. Let's go ahead and resolve that now, then.
Okay. So I'm going to roll plus Effulgent. Oh, that's interesting. I rolled an 11. My Effulgent is 1, so that's a 12. The
Dice
effect of compelling... Really? They didn't like this yesterday that much. So the strong hit value for compelling enigma when a troll shares a cryptic piece of information or something like this with a demiurge character is that this information changes their lives in such a way that it completely alters the focus of what they're doing, and they become close friends with the troll.
Okay. So I initially thought of the mage being upset with the idea that you weren't a proper guardian for the thing that he wanted protected. But based on this, I think maybe he would realize that you were, and it was, the meddling of Johnson that affected him. Maybe that's why he actually killed Johnson as opposed to keeping secrets. But whatever the case, you might not know, but he actually did send you back there to protect you, and he would be taking steps then to cover things up and make things better. However, somebody came up and whacked him on the head and fired off his contingency spell to save his life, and he's going to be out for a while.
But now he knows that, at least as far as Krogu is concerned, and based on what I know, the spark doesn't actually necessarily have to die as he was expecting. That he was certain it was dying, I'm sure, over time, just like Stokes was, and I'm probably Johnson was before he died.
Oh, we lost
a rem.
Oh yeah, I see that. So our cameras are all messed up because someone dropped out. I think Sarah something went wrong with her internet, or she pressed the wrong button or something. Sarah, can you hear us? You know, now is a good time for us to take our break anyway.
Yep.
If I was doing the perfect pacing, I would have started the break right after Juniper had the result from knocking out the wizard. But this'll do. So let's be back in about 10 minutes or so, and hopefully we'll all be back, and maybe we'll even have a Ruga. All right, we're back. Sort of had some technical difficulties, but Sarah's here, and hopefully it'll stay using a backup source of internet. And Opti's not back yet, so he'll join us again shortly, I guess.
Oh, yes.
I hope.
Also, we got a note that Z-Fade might be joining in a little bit.
Oh, sweet. That would be awesome. I hope she's able to join us. So, yeah, I'm all for a little bit of stalling. So in the meantime, while we're stalling, let's stall productively. And I just check in with y'all about how you feeling about tonight's session.
Real good.
Yeah, Krogi, you got to kind of do what you set out to do, and then got a trip back that maybe you weren't expecting.
Thought I was going on a one-way trip.
You probably were if it was all up to Johnson. But nothing's up to Johnson anymore. How about you? Stefan got a chance to share something interesting about the human culture that I think puts it in a different light than kind of we've seen before. Almost everything about the humans has been pretty negative because
And I mean,
they're a bunch of jerks mostly, but
yeah, and that's and they are. That's important to recognize. You know, they
FYI,
conquered
Octi,
and
we're on
killed
the air,
off.
so you know.
Oh, hey.
Just, you know.
We humans conquered and killed everyone and steal magic and use dead elves to teleport and who knows what all else. The Archmage's robes were a picture of cultural appropriation. But it's, he shared that that's just sort of a negative reflection of a part of their nature that has the ability to reflect negatively or in a positive way. And that maybe it's possible for humans to not totally suck. But probably not.
All right. And Aldea, I guess I thought of that elf dust thing for magic earlier today. I'm like, oh, that's good.
That is ideal.
Oh, no, she's frozen. Can you hear
Oh,
us?
no.
Maybe she can't. She's probably having more internet issues, but, fun. So I guess the gremlins did have something special in store for us tonight.
Yeah.
All right, and Juniper, how are you thinking about it? You managed to get all the way in and sneak up to a wizard's tower, or bluff your way in and knock out a wizard, and well,
not just a wizard.
Yeah, probably the.
You told me that I was unconscious.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking much about it at all.
All right. Yeah, I thought there ought to be some sort of interesting thing happen from just cold cocking a wizard. So you definitely successfully knocked him out, which seemed like a good idea at the time.
I wasn't thinking. I was just mad that he destroyed the only troll that I've ever met. Seemed like a waste.
The power of assumptions. Oh, and there she goes. There goes our cameras.
I think Sarah said that she might have to reset her router, so I'm hoping she'll pop back in a couple minutes here. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time before messing with any cameras, because it takes time to move them all around. Oh, good.
There you go.
Yay! I'm glad I waited. And hopefully we'll have Aruga join, but if we don't, we won't. So, are you there, Sarah? You look frozen.
More or less.
Oh, I can hear you clearly at least. At least your voice isn't frozen. So
I apologize. I might be.
We'll roll with it as best as we can. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get right back into the action now. We're gonna cut back to the Enclave where Stefan and Krogu are there, and as you're there, you see let's see, I need a name here. One of the local gnomes. Oh, it's Cliff Hill. Always kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. Cliff Hill comes running up to Stefan. Stefan!
Yes.
What the? There's investigators here. The constables, lots of them. They're starting to fan out and.
Goodness.
Gesturing at Krogu.
Right. Right. Let's see. Do you know where they are right now?
They just came through the. They just came through the outer gate. They're you kind of glance down, like there's a big laneway going down. You're sort of just slightly off to the side of where the feast hall entrance is. Yeah, they're likely to look your way and see you and Krogu and Aldea at any moment.
Alrighty. I think that Stefan is going to just head that way to intercept. Which is probably not the most clever decision, but we'll see.
All right. What are you doing, Krogu?
I'm going to look down at... Is the gnome still here?
Yeah, mostly paying attention to Stefan, but he's there.
What are investigators?
Police! Trouble!
Why?
I don't know. I thought you might have something to do with it.
And at that point, he'll stand up, kind of not full height, as usual, kind of slumped down, and he'll start stomping after Stefan.
I don't think that's such a... he's having trouble getting words out. Aldea, what are you doing?
Well, in the last scene, Stefan just shared some culture with me, so I'm feeling kind of close to him right now, so I've got his back. I'm gonna...
Yeah. All right, so you're moving along. You're seeing this looks like there's a number of different humans that wear uniforms, and some of them are armed. They have cudgels, and they're kind of fanning out and just approaching people they see and starting to walk up to buildings. It looks like there must be like 20 at least. There's a couple of them that are like kind of well dressed with a big fancy broad brimmed hat, kind of the pilgrim look to it, with a kind of flat top and the buckle on the strap on the top, and a brace of flintlock pistols at their sides, which is fairly new weaponry that most people haven't seen much of. The big fancy badge on their breast, and they're sort of watching and looking about, and that both of those uniformed ones sort of turn and see Stefan and Krogu and Aldea approaching, and one of them gestures to the other, and one of them goes off in a different direction towards some of the other investigating they're doing, and the one that was gesturing at first starts to step forward, striding up towards Stefan with a quick gesture, holding up a couple of fingers. Two guards fall in behind them.
And can we help you, Constable?
The investigator steps forward and let's see. Investigator Nagata is my title. I've been sent here to investigate problems with dark magic and other difficulties. There have been deaths. And I see there are trolls here.
I'm looking around for the other troll.
How many trolls are you keeping secretly in the Enclave? He says to Stefan.
Let's see. I think Stefan is he's quick on his feet. He's well, we don't have any permanent residents. Just passing through, aren't we? Just passing through. Lie.
Yeah, I
do
think
not live here.
See?
I think this calls for a beguiling roll. Sarah, are you there? Nope, she's frozen.
I'm here.
Oh, good. So, did you hear any of that? Hello? Well, feel free to jump in with something, if you'd like. You're breaking up a bunch and we can't hear you very well.
Cliff,
So-
have you tried changing the zone we're in?
Oh, yeah, why don't I try that? Well, we're less pixelated now. But Sarah still looks kind of frozen. Nope.
That's
a little
better.
All right, sorry. Sarah, go on.
So, Stefan, what did you say to them?
Oh, I lied that he doesn't live here. He's just passing through. And then Krogu said, "Yep, no, I don't live here."
And I'll chime in and say, yes, our patron is well aware of his presence.
All right, so that sounds like a wise thing to say. I think Aldea and Krogu, you're each attempting to help Stefan on his beguiling test. So each of you make a Gnosis roll using your Gnosis towards Stefan.
9.
Was that 9, Sarah?
9 is good.
The mighty 9. Sorry, referencing other actual
4.
plays. Okay, yeah, Krogu, not terribly helpful. But I mean, there's not much you could have done to help in this circumstance. But yeah, apparently you didn't say just the right thing, but Aldea does. Let me look up the move here. Okay, on a miss, your lack of understanding of Stefan causes you to trouble his path. Let's see here. With Aldea's roll, the bonus is 1. So I guess,
All
Stefan,
right.
go ahead and make your roll with a +1, and I'll figure out how to interpret Krogu's help.
Help. Sure.
Based on the results.
With a +1, I roll 11.
11. Okay, that's...
Oh, sorry. Actually, that's 12 because I didn't add my beguiling.
Well, 10... Once it hits 10, it really doesn't
10
matter
plus.
after that, so... All right. Well, trolls can be very dangerous, and you probably shouldn't allow them to move freely in your enclave. You can come with us then, Mr. Troll, and we'll see to it that you move along your way without any further disturbance.
Our-
The way.
What did he say? He turns to Stefan.
I actually didn't hear.
Me either, so,
Got
but I figured I'd blend it in with the humans not understanding the troll's voice.
He said, "I know the way."
Yes, he said that he knows the way and he'll be on his way now. I think, investigator, that this can be handled. I'm perfectly willing to escort him. We don't need any official assistance with that. Was there something else that you needed before we go?
We'll be doing a thorough investigation, despite having found the potential source of the disturbances. But I will allow you to escort the troll on its way. But
Yes,
I will attach an additional escort for you. I don't
Very
think
well,
you're aware of just how dangerous these things can be.
I think he sort of pauses and he says, "Well, I would like to make an official statement about recent events. I believe that I've also already sent a message to my cousin, whose name I need to make up. Somebody give me a name."
Darren. It's on the list of human names. So.
Darren. All right. To my cousin, Senator Darren. Also explaining recent happenings, which were caused by a group of adventurers who are affected by some sort of chemicals, psychotics, perhaps.
I'm not sure. That seems a group of adventurers returned with another troll and brought it to the Arcane College.
Yes, those. Yes, that was the same group. They were not well.
This is most troubling. There is obviously dark, wild magic afoot here. We need to do a thorough investigation.
Kroger interrupts, leans down to Stefan and says,
There is no other troll. Why do they think there is?
Does that audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yep.
Nagata's looking to you to see what you're going to say. Aldea, is there something you'd like to say or do?
Yeah.
Seems like Stefan and Kroger
look,
are in a spot.
yeah, I'm gonna look directly at the constable and say, the only dark magic that's been worked in these parts is by humans. The ones that came and the ones that...
What are you hoping to accomplish by saying something like this?
Um,
Are you just sharing
in a way,
opinion, or are you trying to influence them in some way?
in a way, shame them, and in a way, like, reassure them that, like, there's nothing happening here, and try to influence them to just walk away.
Okay, I think a beguiling roll for that.
Okay, and I do get and I do get a +1 from culture sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. That's a...
Is that a 9? You're just on rolling 8s only today.
It must be...
These Shadowrun...
I suppose I was going to say with you getting the 9s all the time, it's probably because we're streaming at the same time as Critical Role and we're pulling off some of their things. So.
Yeah.
All right, so with a 9, Nagata turns and regards you and sort of looks you up and down, not in a lascivious way, but in a sort of taking in your unusual appearance, paying note to the strange wooden things coming out of your legs that you walk along, and perhaps that is so, but I think maybe you should come with us as well so we can properly investigate. I have a feeling that elves are well known for their magic as well, and we just need to make sure we rule out any interference from that regard. He gestures, and like 2 more guards join the 6 that were coming this way to escort the troll and human.
Starting to get mad at this point, especially because of the whole elf dust situation.
Yep.
Like, Stefan is like mad with you.
It sounds
I'm gonna
like
wait
Stefan
until...
needs to remain serene under duress.
That's appropriate, actually. Maybe us both. Let's see.
I'm gonna wait until one of them touches me, and as soon as they do, I want to do my mind whispers, and I'm hoping it'll fail, so it just like totally throws them off.
You know, weaponize your mind whispers. Nice.
Yes.
None of them appear to be reaching out to touch you at the moment, but it seems like Stefan's maybe having some issues. Let's see how you roll, though.
He's a crusader. He rolls a 9.
A 9. Okay, that's not bad, but it's not the best it could be. Looking under serene under duress, and 9. You Demiurge may choose 1 or 2. So what results are you hoping to seek from remaining serene under duress here?
Not escalating this situation is what I would like. I would like to Yeah, I'm trying to remain serene. I'm trying not to escalate and not show my visible upset, because I am not supposed to be that sympathetic. Okay. I'm not supposed to go on a rant about the evils of human wizards.
Right. Nagata turns and says, "You seem troubled, Stefan. I get the sense that you are not in a position to speak freely." He looks up at the troll and then the elf. "Perhaps you should come with us as well." So the result I picked is you do not produce exactly the results you seek, but something equivalent comes to pass. So he doesn't think of you as like you're trying to hold yourself back because you're, upset at what the humans are doing. He thinks maybe you feel like you're in danger with this troll looming over you and the elf standing at your side. I'm going to cut away to Juniper. Juniper, yes. You slowly regain consciousness. It's one of those things where like you're not quite sure where you are when you wake up. It's really kind of dark, but then blurry. You kind of open your eyes and start to look around, and nothing seems familiar. Everything's fancy, and you're laying on some fluffy thing. You start to look around. You're in some sort of elaborate, kingly bedchamber. As you open up your eyes and start to look around, there's a wispy form that appears just above you. It appears to be it's like a fog-like humanoid form with a kind of a the tail kind of, it's more of like a genie bottom, right? It's sort of like there's no legs. It comes down in like a point, and it sort of hovers over you and says, "You avenged my master. You must be a powerful wizard. But you seem like a child, but not. I have taken you from that place and placed you here. I have performed my service to you and am bound no more. I am now free." And it starts to spread out and thin. You have a moment to potentially respond before it evaporates. What would you like to do? Opti, can you hear me? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
To me?
Yeah, I was just talking to you a bunch this scene.
No, I must have not had my headphones on.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead and You wake up in this opulent bedchamber, and sort of look around. Your eyes are blurry. It's one of those things where you're not quite sure where you are or how you got here. When you wake up, you're sort of disoriented, and then you see there's this kind of genie-like wispy fog-like humanoid form in front of you, and it tells you that you have avenged its master, and that it has brought you here and performed its service in response to you, and now it is free. And it starts to spread out and thin, like it's about to dissipate.
Who are you?
I was Waterfall. Now I will become water once more.
Oh, excellent. Thank you kindly. You wouldn't know how I could get out of this place.
The form starts to coalesce and become a bit more substantial. You wish to make a new bargain? Very well, you must be a powerful wizard to have defeated the one who slew my master.
Oh, aye. Yes, me and the magic of Shalenar.
Shalenar.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And I look around for my shillelagh.
You see it
absent-mindedly,
kind of like laying on the ground about halfway between this way oversized bed, even for a human, and the door.
So tell me about this bargain you'd like to make. What can you do for me?
I can do many things, but I soothed your burns and carried you to this place. You realize you have only 2 of your mortality flowers blackened, and not 3. You have been somewhat healed, but you also realize that you're still in a lot of pain. I am a water spirit.
Say, what were you doing for... What was his name?
Johnson.
Johnson. What were you... Oh, was it Johnson or was it the other guy? Because I knocked out the other guy, I thought.
The other wizard slew Johnson, my master.
Oh, so what were you doing for Johnson?
Most recently, organizing books by obscure and specific criteria.
That's boring. What about can you find ingredients for stew?
Yes.
Then that's what I'd like for you to be about. What would you like for me in return for a constant supply of new stew material?
Well, what do you offer? Johnson offered a sacrifice.
I'll...
A piece of himself.
You want my big toe?
That is unconventional, but it will do.
Oh. And I look down as if I didn't even realize what I was saying. It's like, I don't even wear shoes. No, everyone's gonna look at me. Everyone's gonna know. What? I'll have the best stew. And then I cut my toe off and give it to him. Oh, that's so gross. Sorry for those of you who said that
you go to reach
I
to
just
cut
totally
your toe
took
off,
it there.
but then it sort of swirls up over you and it's like in your face. This sort of intent look, but its eyes are like hollow spaces in the fog. But there's pinpoints of light there. It says, "Do you agree to this bargain? Stew for your toe."
Who wouldn't? It's stew.
Very well. Brace yourself. I don't know
All
if
right.
this will hurt. And then
I'll bite down on
the form
bedpost.
coalesces around your toes. You can't see anything but the whiteness of the fog around it. And you feel this kind of tingling, and you think you're still kind of wiggling your toe around, but when the ball
my toe!
moves up, you see
toe!
there's no toe there, and it starts to bleed now, as if it was just cut.
What have I done? Oh! What I wouldn't do for a pot of stew. Say, do you have any stew now? Oh, I'll take one of the pillowcases and start wrapping up my toe.
Okay.
Oh, my beautiful feet. Oh,
All right.
what
so
have I become? Curse my greed.
The spirit moves over to the door, which swings open. You can see this large, fancy hallway out there, and it starts to move about, and there's some clanking and things. And before a few minutes have passed, there's this sort of it comes back with this small kind of cooking cauldron thing, and brings it over to you, and it smells rather nicely of stew.
Thank you. And I'll take the. Is it actually stew or is it just ingredients?
It looks like it's it looks like it's a stew that has been rapidly heated. It doesn't, when you look at it, doesn't seem like the ingredients have been cooking very long. Some of the meat's a bit undercooked. Like maybe this thing put all the stuff in and heated it up for you, but it hasn't had time to stew, right? So it's essentially still ingredients.
Oh, this is not stew. What do I do? Okay, so then I'll wrap my
Stew
toe
takes
up.
time.
Oh, I know. You know where I live, right? You'll be able to find me.
I will warm the
We
stew
have a
and bring it to
bargain.
you. Yes.
All right. You best not renege on this. I gave you my toe.
I am not capable of reneging. I will bring you stew for 2 generations. Or until I fade, for the spark will
Well,
soon...
that's 1 generation more than I'll
be
need
weakened.
it. That's fine. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. What's her
and
name?
the-
Lily. You're welcome, Lily.
And the form sort of goes into the stew and it starts to bubble some and the pot and all sort of rises up and starts floating away.
All right. So I'll do it. I don't need the stew right now. I was just in a state of shock. But I'll bandage my toe and then I'll start running down the halls of the wizard's tower, shouting about how the troll stepped on my toe. And I need a medic. Medic! The troll stepped on my toe!
You go running and shouting around, and there's tons
Please
of
help
doors
me.
and hallways and rooms, and everything's just ridiculously fancy here. And way bigger than you'd expect from how the tower appeared when you went in. There doesn't seem to be anybody here, though.
I'm bleeding all over your fancy carpet!
And we'll cut back to the Enclave where Aldea, Stefan, and Krogu are speaking to Investigator Nagata, and it seems like they're being kind of surrounded by a contingent of 8 of the almost half of the soldiers they brought here to help guard, while the other investigator and the other soldiers are sort of moving around and invading the privacy of basically all the other buildings that they can wander over to. Generally staying where they can kind of keep an eye on what's happening here, though. So, what would you like? Are you beginning to then go along with these people? Aldea, no one's actually tried to touch you yet.
Good. I'll wait, but I'm not moving to go with them.
Okay, and then someone prods you with the cudgel.
All right, we'll do it as soon as that cudgel touches.
All right, so what you're attempting to do a mind whisper and hoping it messes up?
Yeah, if it doesn't, if it ends up being clear, I've got a plan for it, but I'm kind of hoping that the fear of madness keeps them away from me.
Okay.
Come on, crappy roll. 10.
10. Okay, you form a mind link with the person who cudgel bumped you. It's not broken when the cudgel breaks contact because it doesn't necessarily require touch, right? And you can essentially transmit what you want. So I think you can have the result that you like of some sort of weird... You're transmitting like the impression that you're looking to transmit.
So I'll kind of have these like creepy whispers that almost have like a meaning that you can grasp. But then I also think of my good buddy Krogu and kind of try to channel a little bit of his energy and have my voice dark and say, back away.
Okay. So it works. They drop their cudgel and grab their head. Oh, God! And then the other ones step forward. The witch! She's attacking! And they move forward with their cudgels and go to start beating you.
Oh, good.
They're about to do that, but, I mean, there's others of you around. So would Krogu or Stefan like... Krogu, you were shaking your head there like, that's not going to happen. So are you doing something?
Yeah, if as soon as he sees one of them actually lift a cudgel in her direction,
There's 3
he
of them.
does the same to them. He lifts his cudgel, which is significantly bigger, and brings it down on one of their heads.
Okay, sounds like you're trying to brutally attack one of them.
Yes, I am.
All right, go ahead and roll that.
11.
Okay, that's a squished guard.
With a 3 harm weapon, I bet it is.
However, as you do that, the investigator Nagata steps back and draws both of his flintlocks, and fires them at you. And you're going to, as a reaction, you're going to suffer, I think with both barrels, he's throwing everything he's got at this. I'm going to say, yeah, this is 3 harm worth. So reduce that by your armor, and then roll to suffer harm with a 2d6 plus 3 minus your armor points.
12.
Oh, okay. So both of the shots just hit and blow huge chunks out of you and off of you. You take 1 more harm than you would have from that result. So,
Well, that's 4.
Stefan, what are you doing?
Man, Stefan is not. He squished a guard, eh? Well, I think
Very
sort of.
squished, yes.
I think things sort of happen all at the same time. So I think one guard prods Aldea and then reacts, and then Krogu. They all raise their clubs, and Krogu raises his, and then lowers it. Then pistols are raised, and I think when the pistols are raised, Stefan doesn't see like where they're being aimed necessarily.
Yeah, they're pretty much almost pointed towards you, but then they track up.
Yeah, I think his instinct in that situation is like Krogu's big and rock, and Aldea is like little, so he'd like get in the way, like kind of try to defend her if like these other people with cudgels are going to do something as well. I don't know what mechanical effect that has, but
well, they're definitely getting in the way. They're stepping up to hit her, and they're perfectly happy to kind of push or knock you aside. So they don't seem to see you as like an immediate threat. It's more like knocking you aside, but they're also not going to be gentle necessarily about it. So
okay, what is the appropriate role for me to? I want to not harm them, but stop what they're doing.
Sounds like you want to interfere with them, but they're not another player, so I don't think Gnosis will apply.
What about Kenneth's soul?
No, that would just help me understand what they're up to, right?
Oh, okay.
I think, which I know. There's a whole section of combat type moves, right? Are those
most of those about like taking
Game Master
objectives or fighting your way to freedom? Shield someone. Oh yes, there we go.
Aha, perfect.
Go ahead and roll brutish.
I'm bad at that now. Oh, I love these dice. That is an 11.
11. Okay, yeah. So you step and you manage to save Aldea from the onslaught of the clubbing cudgels. Go ahead and describe what happens then. What do you do?
Does it have any negative effect on me, or
no? You rolled well enough where you pulled it off. You don't even get necessarily hit for damage.
Okay,
not
I think
significant. So
right. So they're sort of trying to elbow him out of the way while they're getting their clubs in there, and he's just sort of instead of getting elbowed out of the way, he is sort of he spins into the way, and. I mean, I think that this narration makes sense. I think that they, rather than him like actually pushing their arms or anything like that, they just stop. They just don't hit him because he's in the way now.
Yeah, then so they don't even necessarily realize you're trying to interfere with them.
No, they don't want to hit a human right now.
Careful there! It's a witch. And you can hear the boots of some of the other soldiers moving from, like, as they're turning from whoever else they were harassing, and starting to head your way. And it looks like the other investigator is drawing her pistols as well. I guess Krogu, you've been shot for a bunch of damage. What do you do? Apparently the humans react respond with incredible brutality and force in response to having one of them turned into jelly.
Do not threaten her again.
It sounds like you're trying to de-escalate here, so I think a beguiling roll seems most appropriate, unless you have something else in mind.
No, it sounds about right.
Trying to manipulate them into not acting how they would normally behave in this circumstance.
Yeah, I am going to. I think I'm going to help before you do that.
Thank you.
Go ahead and roll
And Cliff-
adding your gnosis with Krogu. And Sarah, what?
While he's rolling that, just to let you know, Z-Fate is here.
Oh, sweet. Jump in on the call then. Are you in the call?
Not yet.
Okay. Once you're in the
She's-
call, then I'll move cameras around and.
Cool. So my help was an 8.
An 8, so you get +1 to your roll then, Krogu. And everyone, bear with the odd camera switch.
We have a
around,
Z.
because we have basically the way this works in overlays is I have a video Discord call, and then I have like these different. I basically put the window into the overlay in different spots and arrange it. So if it changes, everything gets moved around. So that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. So, welcome, Zafira. Have you been paying attention to what's been going on, or?
I have not been able to, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I hear we're in a fight.
Yeah, I guess. What have you been doing in the hours or most of a day since the altercation? And while you talk, I'm gonna move cameras around here.
Sure thing. Ruga was basically just taking her time to really just get the troops in line. Things have taken a dramatic turn, and with the events that most recently transpired. Oh, is it? How about now?
Sorry, what'd you say?
It sounds like my volume's a bit low.
It's kind of always been a bit low during the stream, so feel free to turn it up if you can, but...
Oh, okay. I'll put some gain on there.
You were actually louder yesterday, so I turned you back down, but apparently,
Huh.
apparently that's not quite the case now, so... Well, I'm glad you're able to join us for the last few minutes here. We
Yeah.
might go a little bit over to wrap things up, so... It feels like we're coming towards an ending, though, of some kind.
Okay, that's good.
Now there's 2 opties on the screen and no Travs. Alright, so... Last time when we left off, you, there was a bunch of trouble with the humans, and Aldea and Krogu Krogu had gone off with the humans. Aldea and Stefan had kind of gone off to check on things, I guess. And you, what did you do?
I was just rallying the troops, make sure all of my my clan is just in shape, more or less. Just like, hey, look, things have gone down. The humans are probably going to be pretty pissed off about the things that have transpired. I need everyone ready. I need everyone alert. I need your mounts ready. We need to be in full ready for combat situation here, because it ain't looking pretty after what happened today. So I'm just like just getting everyone, making sure everyone's weapons are in good shape, making sure they're armored up properly for those that do wear armor, and just making sure that we're fight ready, as it were, because even though like we're orcs, we still have spent a lot of time just hanging out in the enclave and not so much being our natural warmongering self.
Yeah, and I'll say the rest of you might have kind of realized up until this point that you really haven't seen any orcs since Ruga had gone off down a separate tunnel when you stopped to investigate the Elf Dust Circle. almost done with the cameras here. Thanks for bearing with me on this. Doing some rapid overlay changes. Maybe not so rapid. All right, just need to get Palmer back on the screen here.
Nah. Nobody wants to see me anyway.
Not true.
I'm too busy moving cameras around to reassure you.
We have 14 people watching that would
All right, yay. So it's not perfect, but this is close enough. So
Good enough.
all right, so pardon me, where were we? What was the last thing that happened?
Krogu
was
and
trying to talk down the
yeah.
the soldiers, and then Ruga was preparing the horde. I mean the war.
Okay, so yeah, Krogu, you rolled really well, didn't you?
I didn't roll.
Oh, you didn't roll. Okay, let's
Nope.
let's see the result of your roll. You get a +1 from Stefan, if I remember.
Yep. 7.
Okay, a 7.
A very weak hit.
And this is beguile someone to manipulate them into not behaving. They must be convinced to go along, provide something tangible that assures them of your dependability, serves as evidence of your claims, or persuades them in some way. So, all right, Nagata says, "Down to the ground now, or we'll slay you all." So it seems like you'll have to, like, prostrate yourselves if you want them to stand down. As you're sort of starting to do that, Ruga, you've sort of been gathering people and I guess gathering your troops and such, and been keeping an eye on things. You'd heard that there was like an army of humans descending on the Enclave, and when you get closer, you found out from a couple of the residents that had come up and told you what happens, that they're investigators and they're looking around, they're searching for signs of dark magic. And so how did you proceed? Are you like running around on your Triceratops with your warband, or are you more kind of sneaking around town and trying to get a look at things?
I'm gonna be rolling big this time around because of the events that transpired. I mean, like, yeah, sure, I could sneak about, but once the gig is up sneaking, I'm by myself in a very, very unfortunate position. So I'm going to bring the gang with me, and we're going to be just rolling about.
Okay, so you like go right it up. You're like Krog, you're starting to sit down all day. You're like doing your thing. Stefan, the humans are barely paying attention to you, but then was look, and then you see this Triceratops with the orange Orcaruga on the top. Are you displaying the war banner at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, with the war banner flapping in the, well, relatively non-existent breeze. It's more from moving in this sort of underground place. There's some airflow. And then other orcs behind her, like their axes raised. And it seems like they're ready to, looking like they're going to charge into battle and start murdering people. And I guess... Ruga, give me a roll with plus brutish. Unless you have some other warband related move you'd like to do. I just want to kind of roll to see how well you intimidate things, or whether you whether you inspire an intimidating response, or whether they think they maybe need to fight to stay here and fight you.
All right. Sure thing. Let's see. Come on, scary. 4 plus 2, 10. Hell
10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're very impressive and intimidating and scary. Which point the god like retreat, out, and then like the person, the soldiers is right, says, "You heard? Let's get out of here, everyone!" And then all the humans that had moved in, like, just they turn with almost no dignity whatsoever, are like running like hell for the exit of the Enclave. Would anyone like to try to strike them or run any of them down, or are you letting them go?
Yes, please.
All right, Aldea, what do you do?
Oh, I am going to invoke my new ability.
Okay.
I took, when I leveled up, I get to take a skill from any playbook. And after what we shared last time, I took the feature a warband of 1. So I count as a small gang. So I gain +1 armor and +1 harm against single opponents, or when a small gang attacks me. Neither side has harm or armor bonus. I feel the bloodlust of the orcs coming behind me, and I kind of let out this roar. My eyes turn red, and some of my little branch protrusions come out into like these oversized tusks as I like beef up and get taller and thicker, and I am gonna run these guys down and brutally.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your plus brutish, or I think you can substitute effulgent, can't you?
Yes, I do have that ability.
Those two things cross over very nicely, actually.
So that would be a 9 again.
Okay.
9.
Okay, so you inflict some harm. They're definitely seeking certain refuge from your fury, which they were kind of doing already. I should probably do something else as well. I guess they kind of like force your hand and endure your ass. Some of them turn to fight as a rear guard, and they're just slaughtered. About half of them make it towards the front gate, but Nagata, investigator Nagata, is trying to reload his flintlock pistols, and that slows him down. He's pulled down by these. What is the weird magic effect that's killing these people? Go ahead and describe it.
I'd say as I'm racing toward them and kind of growing in size to start to rival Krogu. Some of them I just flat out stomp, and like my fists turn into boulders, like boulder-sized knots, and I start just like clubbing at these humans.
All right, then. Let's see here. I'm gonna say, Ruga, your orcs are sort of riding up along with you. Are you attacking as well, or riding into battle? Okay, so you're gonna ride in. Go ahead and give me a roll to see how well you and your warband does. I think this would be plus as well.
By the way, Ruga, because I'm fighting with your horde, my presence is the equivalent of 15 people for your.
Oh, jeez.
So
you'll get a little bit of extra harm or armor if you take damage or deal damage.
Okay. So just so I'm plus brutish, or am I doing plus something else?
I think so, unless you have some other move that would apply. This seems like engage in a duel or take an objective or brutal attack. Whatever the case, you're basically fighting these people. So.
All right. I guess since they're running, I guess brutal attack is most fitting.
I know, Robert, when we were chatting today earlier, so there's a few different ways the moves in combat work. Ambush is where they're completely defenseless, and you just do it. Brutish attack is when you're attacking someone who doesn't really want to fight, but you're fighting them anyway. Engage in a duel is when you're actually fighting someone who, wants to fight back. So I guess engage in a duel works. I'll let them use Brutish, though, so.
Yeah. Well, you said they were retreating, aren't they?
Yeah, they seem to be interested in getting the hell out of the Enclave, which is way more dangerous than what they were expecting. They thought they were showing up here with overwhelming intimidation and force here, but it turns out that all of you were the overwhelming force.
Yay! All right, let's get this roll going. Plus brutish. Yeah, I'm gonna go for brutally attack on just people running. Oh, cool. 11. These are the hot dice. I like these.
Yeah, with 11, you guys are like charging forward. You manage to run down and slaughter the rest of the humans that are trying to reach the gate. There's a couple of last ones, like 3 more guards left that reach the gate and turn, and the other investigator draws her flintlock pistols and goes to shoot them at you, but they just go wide because they're nervous, and then they're just run down and slaughtered. You sort of pin that one. Spike pins that one up against the gate and impales them on 2 of their spikes. So with that, you've slaughtered about 20 humans that were official investigators just to show up here to find out about what was going wrong.
Oops.
Afterwards, you realize you're victorious. When you look around, the other people are looking out of windows. They're not cheering, and they're not like, "Yay, we won!" They're like, "Holy shit, what have you done? What's going to happen to us now?" is their reaction.
That's valid.
We're going to cut to Juniper, who's been running around in these opulent chambers, one to another. Every time you find a door, there's like a new fancy room. You found one that was a big long pool, another one that seemed like a harem, but there were no people in it, just lots of pillows and fluffy pink stuff. A couple of kitchens.
Such a waste of potential.
And finally, you remember, oh yeah, it wasn't the door that took me here, and you find like the one featureless wall you can find, and it opens up into a circle, and you see that round antechamber. You think that might be the way out, maybe?
Yeah, I guess I'll hobble that direction. It occurs to me that I actually have something that might work for this. Did you say that the spirit took the bowl of stew?
Yep.
Okay, I will. I've named the spirit stew. So now I'll just say stew. I want my stew.
The stew sort of floats up next to you. It's only been a few minutes. You can hear the voices bubbling up from the stew in the cauldron. It's
yeah. I need to heal my toe. So I start I use my invoke the unreal to create a remedial meal, which means I can heal myself if I cook correctly. So,
right.
So I'm gonna try to cook. I feel like this is such a weird side tale.
These stories always end with a halfling losing a phalange.
9. So that's 10. Or no, I'm sorry, that's 8.
All right. So what happens then on 8 with that move?
On a 7 to 9, if I cook for other people, then they heal, but I do not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess I just.
Damn it! It's yummy food, but it's not helping your toe pain or making your eyebrows grow back.
All right. So then I'll just throw the stew and then just start marching out again, like hobbling out of the tower, like yelling.
All right. I think go ahead and give me a fraught situation roll to figure out, I don't know, what to do here, because.
It's 9.
Okay, so we get one question. I think since I posed the roll, I'm just going to give you the answer. You realize that you are inside of a wizard's tower, unsupervised. There's a lot of stuff here, like libraries and books and probably magic items and things. And
oh man, what kind of a guy am I? Am I a Tyler Durden type hobbit, or am I like a think ahead type hobbit? I'm a smuggler, so I decided I'm a think ahead type hobbit. So I'm going to all of a sudden realize my situation, and then just start looking for the most fantastical or wealthy looking things, and start. What am I going to do with them? I'm hobbling around. I'm going. This is so dumb. I'm going to tie the bed sheets together and start lowering items out. and maybe not like even like how would I do this? What I want to do is create a way for me to get some. I know I can't get it all out myself, but what I want to do is be able to create a way that I can get access to it again once I have my network together. So like basically
put the
like
small stuff in the stew pot.
Give me I'm gonna call this. I'm not sure if there's a move for it, but I think this sounds like an effulgent roll because you're trying to understand the weird stuff in this place, right? So
like on one hand, but then also trying to figure out like a plan for me to get it back out once I want to, or once I have the means.
Okay.
But
so yeah, go ahead and give me a roll plus effulgent. I'm not even sure what this move is. I'm just making it up, I guess, but it makes sense. I mean, we got some basic stats to use. I mean, there's basic moves in the book. I think maybe that's some feedback for the playtest. Is maybe like, what do you do if there isn't a move that seems to fit? Well,
that's
this is what I'm doing. I make something up.
You don't get a bonus for highlighted stuff, right? You just get a.
It's not a bonus, no.
You get an experience for using it.
So just a 6.
All right, so you mark experience, and you kind of look around. You just don't understand anything here. You try to open a window, but like the window opens up into like white light outside that looks like sunlight, but it's like a weird ongoing blank space. You probably don't want to throw anything you want to keep out there or go out there yourself. This is just weird. And when you're looking around, you hear a voice behind you as you turn and see there's a stew pot still mostly full, kind of floating along. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stu's voice says.
Stu, you can help me. There's no one here. We have the opportunity to make a very good living. If we could take the most expensive and powerful things from this tower away from those who would use it for evil, then we might be able to sell it back to them and make a fortune.
I didn't understand most of that, but you're looking for valuable and powerful items?
We're partners, right?
No,
Stu?
that is not the arrangement of our bargain.
Would you like to change the arrangement?
Would you like to change the arrangement? And
tell
I
you
will
what.
cut away as the rest of you slaughter the people in town are kind of gathering up the bodies and cleaning things up and kind of pushing things away. And it seems like the Enclave itself is like everybody's freaking out. But like, what are we gonna do? It's a ruin of all of us. And
Did we killed all of them?
they're all dead. Yes.
Oh, excellent. The victor set the narrative.
Yep.
Well,
So Stefan, you kind of see like there's a bunch of chaos around you. Like Ruga's like happily, being patted on the back by the other orcs, and they're just this is how it was meant to be, says Durab Tullik.
Yeah, that's however much that was well deserved. How many orcs are there in your band?
About 15.
Maybe 14 actually after Orchrist.
Yeah. And Stefan looks down or looks at toward the human city. There's more soldiers in the city than that on a single street. I respect all of this, but we're going to need to figure out what to do now. When the battle's over, we have to make sure that we tell the story the way that won't make us all dead.
Grogu would walk up and see this and say to them,
Take them to the grove. It will dispose of them.
Well, that's a start.
I think I'd like to cut in at this point. We're past our time, and I think it's a good wrapping up point. We can leave some things a bit uncertain. What I'd like to do is kind of go around and have each of you have a chance to do an epilogue of what's happened here. Let's who wants to start?
I think that I will start.
Okay, so Stefan, what happens next?
So I think we basically dispose of these bodies, and Stefan uses his connection to Senator Darren, basically to all of the last couple of days happening are put down to rogue elements, and we reassure everyone that those elements have been eliminated through the heroism of I don't know, some humans look real good. The senator sent his guards to put down these horrible rebels. Probably we find some residents of the Enclave who are like, some murderer that we were going to put on trial, and we're just like, yep, that was them. Okay, and so, we just sort of scapegoat someone, and
yeah, you realize the humans are going to need somebody to blame. The troll is a pretty strong focus of it. Krogu, what about your epilogue? How do you handle this? You helped with a solution for hiding the bodies, but some of the humans are very interested in the possibility of a dangerous troll being at the center of this.
Well, that's going to have to be their problem, because if they come looking for Krogu, he's done running and he's tired of their nonsense for a long time. He would have gone back as soon as possible, of course, to the Grove, and as part of doing the solution, he'd have to go there anyway. But one of the things he wants to see, now that Johnson is dead, is perhaps whatever he had done to the Grove has stopped. So maybe it's no longer infected or cursed or whatever it is.
Yeah, very good. When you get there, you find the Grove somewhat revitalized. Some of the things you'd stepped on before and crushed to try to quarantine it have actually reformed and grown some, and it seems much more healthy and vital than it was before, with very little signs of the previous damage and corruption. Very good. I like that. Who's next?
I'll go, but first I did want to do a roll for invoking the Unreal after, once we had cleared out the last of the humans that were in the cave. I wanted to go ahead and invoke the Unreal for answers.
Okay.
And
what move are you doing? Invoke the Unreal, right? But it's tied to a specific. Is it tied to a specific thing you're doing?
Yes. So I get bloody visions.
Oh, right, the bloody visions. Yes, sorry.
Which now I can do with brutish after leveling, which +1, but yeah, it's fine. I'm hoping for a mid hit, not a strong hit. So we'll see how these dice treat me. A 9. Okay, I'll take it.
All right, and what does the 9 do for you?
On a 7 through 9, choose. Oh, that's the wrong one. On a 7 through 9, on a hit, the Demiurge tells you something new and interesting, and might ask you a question or two, regarding just like what to do. What is the best course? I was just invoking the Unreal to see like the best series of events to take for our survival after this massacre has transpired.
Okay, so what you see in your bloody visions is that blood being spilled has consequences and carries through in it. The humans will accept the scapegoat to some degree, but they're going to watch things more closely, control things more closely. There are going to be soldiers placed in the Enclave to keep track of things, and generally it's going to get harder for everybody here, and just things are going to get tightened down more because the humans are afraid of trouble bubbling up. And then those who are here that dabble in dark magic will ultimately perform a powerful ritual that will cause everyone in the Enclave to turn into a horrible monster and essentially slaughter basically slaughter the humans and then travel out to the city and lay waste to parts of Cairndal. It will make Cairndal bleed, but Cairndal will recover. The Enclave will not. The only way you could see forward is for anyone to survive this ultimately is to get away and find another place. It's not necessarily completely 100% certain. You feel there's a weird sense to it, like there's a new depth of vision to the blood visions that you hadn't perceived before. Maybe it's your own growth, but deep down, no, it's really that it's sort of woven and tied into the elven future sight in a way it never has before.
Okay. All right.
That said, the patron will somehow become involved, but not in a way that helps to protect the orcs.
Fair enough. That's fine. We've protected ourselves long enough. We can do it a little bit longer, I wager.
All right, Juniper or Aldea, which one of you would like to go next?
I'll go. So, I feel like Stu and Juniper have struck a new deal, in which they become smugglers of some renown, but also that I take a lot of the most powerful items that are being used to sort of bolster the humans' control and take them out of play for at least a time.
And you find that ultimately with Johnson gone and this being like a wizard's inner sanctum, it's protected by various magical locks and things like that. You're more or less allowed to come and go and left unattended from here for weeks. Like you have these like other portals that you find that lead off to this or that, and like ultimately like the truth that Johnson is dead even isn't known for a very long. Johnson ultimately disappears and no one knows what happened to him, and essentially like the patron doesn't go back here. Right, the patron has other things that they do. They're not going to go back to where they were killed. They don't remember how, right? They don't remember the last few moments before they were whacked. They just know that, like, their contingency went off and they almost died. So obviously Johnson has some scary protections in place that struck back. So yeah, nobody messes with you, and you have access to this place for a long time.
I become the new sorcerer lord of Cairngorm.
The first halfling archmage.
With very little magic.
Yeah, and maybe what Ruga doesn't see is how you're able to influence things to help things move around and get people out or get them what they need to where like. Yeah, maybe some of the horrible stuff that I said doesn't happen completely, or what does, it's very much mitigated or minimized or not as bad, or maybe even not quite what Ruga thought it was when she saw it.
So maybe also, is there some sort of magic item I can find or ritual or something like that to maybe hide or seal the grove?
Oh, okay, there we go. The grove itself, I'm going to say, is something that the Archmage, your patron, does get involved in. And you do find an item, but you can't figure out how to make it work. However, when you are trying to make it work in the grove, the Archmage, Cortland, shows up and says, "I'm not sure where you got that, and I'm not going to ask, but I'm glad you brought this here. We must protect the spark seed at all costs."
Aye. As the as the Archmage of Cairndal, I agree.
Very well. I'll show you how it works. And
Yes.
they
Beguiling.
and then Aldea, how about you? You're the last of these to do your epilogue.
Yeah, I feel like Juniper wins, but if you can win Demihumans. So Aldea, as she comes down from the battle high, she realizes there's something that's really changed deep within her, and from her knowledge she's gained, and she realizes that she's no longer weary, she's angry. And so she turns to Ruga, takes a knee, and declares her orcdom, and that she will follow Ruga and denounce her elven heritage.
Oh shit.
Ruga, how do you feel about this?
This is a new revelation to acknowledge, just because, like, largely because, like, I mean, the Orcish was more or less a birthright, as it were, because it's like the name implies, Tuskborn were born with tusks, whereas this person was not.
How do you feel about her generating tusks with her branches? Is that something that you feel like you're happy that she did that and she's connecting with you, or does it offend you?
Yeah, she's definitely not offended. Like, it's weird to acknowledge. That, that she's more or less like donning the most distinctive trait of the Tuskborn. So it was a weird, like, getting used to, but, like, she's more or less fine with it. I mean, the orcs were, a warring species that were dominated, and she's really, despite that being a real part of the orcish lineage, she does, like, kind of, like, want to be a more inclusive style of entity, as it were. So, I mean, she, like, acknowledge and accept the joy, the welcome her into her clan. Of course, I mean, like, it's just like, yeah, you've proven yourself worthy. I mean, you've fought, you've got tusks.
The two qualifications.
Yeah, there's the two qualifications of Orchood here. It's just like, all right, you got tusks, and you fight. You fight for what you believe in, and that's our whole shtick, really. I mean, sure, we have pretty loose beliefs sometimes for those fightings, but, we still always fight for what we believe in. So, to see that from an outsider, from someone that we would have previously potentially considered tuskless, especially, it's endearing in a way. So, Ruga's definitely on board, and is more than welcome to bring Aldea along in their journey.
All right. So with that,
Thank you, clan leader.
With me as the Demiurge, I will close things out with the final epilogue. The humans are incredibly more suspicious of the dark magic. The scapegoat that you're able to find and put forward are some gnomes who've been tapping into extraplanar magic, and some of them actually managed to keep some of their secrets and fight back, and ultimately the scapegoating them is what goes them on to the ritual that transforms some of the populace into ravenous monsters that attack the humans. Ultimately, the Enclave does die out, but most of the people of the Enclave, those who sort of go with you and rally around you, you find safety deeper within the caverns, and the spark seed grows, the crystal cavern expands into more and more parts of the tunnels, and the magic that Juniper brings back and that Cortland shows him how to use helps him keep it hidden. So there's this sort of other enclave that is unwatched by the humans, and food is brought in by the spirit stew and other growing things into the ground, and you find some sort of survival to keep things on for a time, and maybe you survive for another generation and the sparks continue, and you're able to reach out and help others in other enclaves, but maybe not. We'll see. Time and tales are a mysterious thing, and it's hard to tell where they might lead. What is for sure is the enclave that was once that the humans once called Stonecrusher Keep is seen as a haunted and dangerous place that the humans generally avoid once it's devoid of the life that fought back and slew so many humans. It's sealed up. And I think we'll leave it there.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun
I
with
agree.
this game.
I wish I could have found a way to get back with the rest of the group. I really like this character.